Bam, we're live. Exerciser 20% off. What's up? What is up? Time to hook the phone back up. I took the phone with me this weekend. I didn't use it on site at all. I got home. My son's like, "Why does your voice sound different?" I wonder why it does sound different. I think it was the I think he thinks it's because I'm getting old. He's like, "Oh, you were away for a week and your voice changed, and I think it's because you got old." But I think it was the air I was breathing and just moving around so much. I don't think I got old. Like, I don't think I got, like, you know how old people, their voices change? I don't think he could tell in a week. I mean, I did get older. A topic that I used to bring up all the time on the show, and I still see it all the time, I don't bring it up much anymore, um, is that there's a whole cohort of people out there, and I guess I've got more political in my talk, and I call them NPCs now, non-playable characters. But there's a whole cohort of people out there, who don't know the difference, between, their thoughts and reality. And it's the vast majority of people, and even those of us who do know the difference, we get sucked up into forgetting that too, and we actually think we are our thoughts. And it's an important, idea to remember. I'll give you guys an example. To the truth is probably most of you listening don't know the difference either, and just even the idea of it doesn't even resonate with you guys. But I'll give you an example, and then maybe this will resonate with you. You're sitting on the couch. It's 8:30 at night, and but prior to that, you have let's say you have a strict diet. You're like, hey, I'm only going to eat between 12 and 6 every single day. Let's say the diet was that simple, and it's 8:30 at night, and you're sitting on the couch, and you want to get a something to eat, and you feel that thought, you see that thought, you hear that thought, you get some awareness of that thought that you want to get up to the go to the kitchen and eat. And at that moment, you know that there's this other part of you that's like thought or rule that you've set for yourself that you're not going to eat past 6 o'clock at night. So you don't react to that thought and you let it go. And that brings you up to the concept of who would you be without that thought. So you have these thoughts and you don't have to be your thoughts. You don't have to be any of your thoughts. And when you're not any of your thoughts, that's like a let's call it a super high level of um, awareness and I don't know if freedom is the word, but it's sure as fuck close to becomes to freedom. And so that's a lot of the show probably won't make sense to you guys who don't have that ability just to even understand that one concept, that one idea. You don't have to be your thoughts and you don't have to react to your thoughts. What I noticed in the shower this morning, I was thinking about today's show, and I was thinking yesterday I wanted to come on the air so bad, and I wanted to come on the air because that's what I do. I come on the air, and I didn't. I just spent time with my kids shooting hoops. My dad was here. My dad's leaving Armenia for 6 months, and so I wanted to hang with him. And my 3 nephews are here, and I fucking love them to death. And they're older. They're like 14, I don't know, 17 and 20. And then my 3 sons were here. And of course, my wife was here. She was having an awesome hair day. And my mom was here. And so all the family was here and I hung out with them. And then I called some people I loved. I called Dave probably 5 times, talked to him for like 2 minutes each. I called Andrew. It was nice hearing Andrew's voice. I usually talk to Andrew every day, so it was nice hearing Andrew's voice. I talked to Taylor, he was on a long drive home. I talked to some other friends, and I just kinda got settled in. And then this morning in the shower, I was thinking about the Mayhem Boys, and I was thinking about all the Christians who were there at the at the games this year. I'm assuming all of you know that, Lazar died at the games on Thursday morning, meaning he was there in the morning as a human being, and then the race started, and he wasn't there. Boy, that wasn't supposed to happen. So, I was thinking about and then, we have pretty hardcore we in my group of, close friends, there's some really hardcore, Christian guys, hardcore practitioners of Christianity, and they share those, um I don't wanna call them beliefs or thoughts, I would call them those tools that they use to navigate life. They practice them well, you know? And when they don't practice them, they're even open to taking reflection on that, you know? So if they have some rule based on the Bible and how they're supposed to live their life and they break the rule, like, they'll talk about it or you could ask them about it. And when, when you're if 2 carpenters went to work and one of them brought all their tools and one of them didn't, you would know who when you got there, who would be the most productive, right? It would be the guy who had all his tools. And those dudes, the guys who travel around with those Christian tools, um, and I say, if you can, as I'm saying this, try not to get triggered, and you should know wholeheartedly that I am not a Christian by any means, not even close. I am not a believer in the slightest. But from my assessment, um, because they have those tools and those practitioners, that group was best able to handle and be prepared and process, Lazarus' death. It was very interesting because in their daily practice, um, they have, a component of it is what happens to you when you die. And so, excuse me, they were crazy adequately prepared to handle the situation relative to other people. And, um, the NPCs, the non-playable characters, and there are other, I'm not suggesting that there aren't other religions or other methods, you know, if you have the tool, who would I be without this thought? And if you can see your thought, you're also equipped with some really crazy tools to, process death. Really, really, deep, powerful tools. And the NPCs, they have, like, they have go-to tools, right? They have go-to, what I would call unconscious tools. And, like, one of their favorite ones is to blame. And I'm not saying it's hard not to do that, and I'm not saying that none of the Christians do that. All of us kind of at our base, at our defaults to go unconscious and just start using the tools that are, I don't know, maybe they're, I don't wanna say it in a derogatory way, but maybe they're, like, animalistic. Um, but, but those tools were, those tools were I mean, They're almost like not even tools, but blaming, anger, attacking. They were having thoughts that they were reacting to. And it was just fascinating in hindsight now that I'm out of that situation and I come back here to think about what tools, excuse me, everyone was using to handle it. And I'm guilty of I'm guilty. And of or guilty or honored or I enjoyed watching everyone's tools, the NPC's tools, the Christians' tools. Those were who were trying to get some stillness. But amongst all of those people, the one phenomenon that was very clear is that people were having very strong thoughts and glomming onto them. And so, the Christians have reprogrammed themselves they've added tools to the arsenal that are more than I guess what we're born with, which I think are the ones to like blame and attack. So it was fascinating to it was fascinating to see that. It was very fascinating to see that. And that's it. Show's over. Show's over. My wife this morning sent me my wife plays a very, very powerful part in reminding me in my life, very besides taking care of the kids and loving me, she plays a very powerful and poignant role in directing me to watch my thoughts and uh not react to them. And so this morning she sent me a shitload of clips that reminded me of that and she's already given me all the tools over the last 25 years and helped me put into practice ways of watching my thoughts. And then this morning she sent me a bunch of clips that were reminders on why it's important, but it is how we are all the same. There's no it's kind of like how we're all robots coming off the same manufacturing line. We all have the same operating system and we all have the same ability to watch thoughts, and we all have the same ability to not react to them. And the more you cultivate that ability, the better your life will be and the less you'll be a NPC. If that's what you don't want to be, I mean, you're welcome to be one also. I brought the phone in today also. I was also thinking about a listener of the show this morning named Brandon Waddell. And he's a listener of the show and he's been dealing with some cancer. He called in once and was telling us about it. And I was thinking about, I wonder what the relevance of all of this to him is as he fights for his life and his existence so that he could be there with his family. That being said, I absolutely, and maybe this is the unhealthy thing. Before I get to that, so by the way, how I coped with it is when the event was over Sunday, I drank myself into oblivion. I got on a plane, I flew home, and I ate myself into oblivion. I just came inside and ate cheese and crackers and watched my kids, and I ate a shitload of fruit, and I walked around my yard. I ate so much fruit, I almost made myself sick. I've ate fucking probably a pound of green beans off my plants. I wish I wouldn't have drank all that on Sunday night. I felt like absolute shit. I still feel it. Uh, did Sevi just gaslight anyone who is not a Christian? I'm not even sure what that means. I don't even know what that means. I'm just telling you my observation. I'm just sharing you with my observations on how I saw people processing stuff. And we're seeing it. I was actually thinking about doing an entire show where I just went to different people's social media accounts and tried to watch them without being judgmental and watch them process. And all these people who are posting stuff, and this is where the drama comes in, and this is the stuff, unfortunately, that I just fucking love, is we're seeing people post all of this stuff on social media, and then what they're doing is then they're making themselves vulnerable to judgment at its premise. That's the only reason why, like, that is the foundation of all posting. All you're doing is asking people to judge you. And so you make a post, and then all you're doing is telling the world, "Judge me, judge me, judge me, judge me, judge me." And then they read it, and then it's kind of like, imagine a pyramid. At its base, every post is strictly to judge. And then I was thinking, I wonder if I could read through these and not judge people. I don't know if I can do it. The thing is that what happens is 2 things happen. We see how they're processing it, and then we judge them because it's not how we would process it, I guess. But then the other thing, which is just the is we see the inconsistencies, right? So someone would say something like, maybe some athlete would say, "Money should play no part," and then we find out that behind the scenes, before they made that post, they were making sure that their decision, whatever it was, to stay at the games or leave the games, wouldn't affect their wallet. And so if you're gonna post something, I mean, I don't know if I'm assuming this is true because I heard it from so many people, but I'll give you an example. Rebecca Fuselier, after it happened, her gym is nearby the event, and she opened up her gym for free for people to come hang out if they needed a place to be with people or a place to work out or anything, right? A place to talk. And she was judged for that. And you would think, what kind of fucking maniac would judge her for that? But people did. People did. They did a memorial the next day, and people were judging the memorial, like, angry. The CrossFit did a memorial for Luca, and people were judging the memorial. Uh, I'm out, Sevon. Maybe you should not judge people either. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I don't know if I'd have a show if I didn't judge people. I don't know who judged her. I didn't actually go to the post, but you could probably go to the post and look yourself. I heard there's just all sorts of people in her comments, like, just ripping her. Like, 5 people came up to me and like, "Holy shit, you can't even open up your gym for free." One person told me, friends were telling me, like, "Hey, the memorial was only 19 seconds of silence." And I was thinking, "Oh, what should it have been, 21?" I mean, it was fascinating to me. But those are just thoughts, right? So you're sitting there, and then you have a thought, "Hey, this memorial sucked." So there you go. And I don't even know if they know why it sucked, but then you would say to them, "Why did it suck?" and then they'd give you an answer, and then they'd give you an answer. I don't even know if they're like making the answer up or if it's true. Hey, what's up, dude?
Hello.
Hey,
Hey, Savon. How's it going, man?
good, good. I'm fucking pumped for today. I can't tell you how happy I am to be home.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, same area. We got in last night.
Where did you go back to?
Charleston, South Carolina. So we went back to all the flooding.
Well, hey, I appreciate you calling. Even I don't want to be alone.
Yeah, I feel that, man. No, so it wasn't necessarily the fact that a lot of people, even around me in the crowd, were upset about the memorial. It wasn't necessarily the fact of that there was a memorial. It was more so of I felt the community felt let down and how little it felt CrossFit HQ did. It felt that the athletes made sure that it didn't go unknown throughout the rest of the event versus sorry man
That's okay.
versus the HQ. I felt they should have done more, especially knowing Dave and like having talked with Dave and worked with Dave. Like I felt there should have been more, but also at the same time I don't know if that was his call. So I think the community is like, why wasn't there more?
What do you mean by more? Like a video? It should have been 3 minutes long. They should have rolled out a casket. Like, what do you mean more?
I mean, isn't like, dude, it wasn't until till the men took the floor during the individual event is when they finally like kind of like even acknowledged it. It's like, hey, like even the athletes seemed confused that it was so short.
Hmm.
They were like, wait, this is the tribute. Like in other sports, like you're talking like, hey, like they hang a jersey when somebody like passes away or retires or something like that. Everybody around made sure that it did not go. I'm like, we didn't just pass this by versus, hey, we're having this competition and dedicating it to him. But the athletes were the one who made sure that he stayed there.
Hmm. Okay. I mean, I get that it wasn't that for me. The whole event to me, the entire 4 days felt like a wake. And I looked up the definition of wake and it says a social gathering before a funeral where family and friends watch over the deceased body, usually at their home and sometimes at a funeral. Wakes can also involve drinking and talking about the deceased life. And it felt like for me, it felt like a 4-day wake.
Oh no, I totally agree.
And so
And especially being in the arena, like the energy in the arena was just so different.
it was very different. You know what I would have liked to have seen? For me, the memorial was absolutely fine. I would say it was perfect. What I would have
Mm-hmm.
liked to have seen, and I'm not upset at HQ for this, because they would have been they obviously everyone was trying to walk a fine rope, right? And so there was
Yes,
compromise. Don't
exactly.
make it too sad. People will judge you. Don't make it too happy. People will judge you. Like I heard someone judge Ricky for pounding his chest when he crossed the finish line. I'm not able to comprehend where that judgment even comes
Exactly.
from.
I'm right. I completely agree.
But what I if what I would have liked to have seen is them go on the side of turning it into a celebration. And obviously, I understand the risks of that. But I think it was Daisy McDonald was the first athlete to take the floor when the event finally got kicked off on Friday morning. And I would have liked the
Mm-hmm.
commentator, since the fans didn't do it on their own, to tell everyone to get to stand to their feet
Mm-hmm.
and cherish every fucking athlete that walked out on that floor.
Mm-hmm.
But they needed permission to do that.
Yeah, I
Because
agree. I feel you on that,
you know
man.
what I mean? Like the audience was hesitant, and I'm completely making this up. I'm completely making this up, but I felt like I felt like there were people who I feel like the vast majority of people were kind of like guarded, looking around to see how if it was okay to smile or not. I
Mm-hmm.
was told
I mean, I feel that.
that even some of the staff members, CrossFit HQ staff members, were told when they were on the floor not to smile. And these are things
That's
that I'm not I don't really have the I don't have understanding of. I mean, I've kind of I've my only understanding of that is that some sort of like social what's not social construction. I'm not sure what the term is, but those are things that I
I
don't.
get what you're saying. You're saying like, hey, like, because like the CrossFit HQ at that point is unfortunately they're in PR mode, in the fact of like people are going to see you smiling, and what are they going to think?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I just I don't that's not where I sit.
Yeah.
So
Like let people and like the athletes are saying, like let people mourn or feel the way that they feel.
right. And right. And hey, so let's say someone has that thought, hey, that wasn't enough. Once again, that's just their thought, right?
Yeah.
And then from there,
Yeah.
and then from there, they have a choice. They can let that thought go. They can just, breathe and then let the next thought come in. Oh, my foot itches. Oh, should I get a Bud Light or a Coca-Cola at the vendor? Or they can react to that thought. And so a lot of that noise everywhere in that stadium and with the athletes and on the podcast was people reacting to those thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And they're doing that to kind of, and when we react to those thoughts, we're kind of bolstering up our own value, I guess, our own existence.
I see that, man. Like I totally get it. Yeah, no, I was just calling in like to be like, hey, like it wasn't just everyone felt it that was there, and just like you said, like people have. I think we both agree necessarily on the fact that people have different ways of how they process and see things and feel things.
And if people focused more on how they were processing it than worried about how other people process it, I don't know. I don't know what the conclusion is. I was going to say maybe we could get through this faster, but there's a presupposition there that the point is for some reason to get through it faster, and I don't think that's fair either.
No, like yeah, like people get through it when they get through it, man.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for all you do for the community, man. It was good to see you Sunday night.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. I had a great talk with Andrew. I really wanted to understand how he was processing it. I really, really wanted to understand how he was processing it. And I felt so much better, not worrying about how I was processing it and just taking the time to understand how he was processing it. I felt so much better. Caller, hi. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I'm outside playing basketball with my kids.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I just ordered. My sons are so into basketball right now. I went on Amazon and ordered last night and ordered 12 rubber basketballs for $49. I was so excited.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I basically had to air them all up. So I got a 3-year-old son and a
That's what I did.
1.5-year-old girl.
That's what I did yesterday when I got home. I aired them all up.
Yeah.
And then they want to come over and air them, and they're bending the needle and the ball, and I'm just sitting there being like, geez Louise.
Oh, yeah. So, but no, I was at the games, and I was actually 4 rows up from where you were. So, you had the media pit, and then y'all had the little alleyway. You had to walk where only one person basically could fit.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So I said hi to you. I had a Hiller shirt on, a no rip shirt on.
Okay. Very popular shirt at the venue. Very popular shirt at the venue.
Yeah. So that's my first time at the games. I live in Texas. So when it was at Madison, and I've been doing CrossFit since 2013. And so since it came to, it was in Texas, so it was a 4-hour drive for me. So me and my wife, we went. But we didn't go up there until Friday. And so we had to get, wait for babysitter for the kids and everything. So we came up there on Friday. We missed the memorial. I think we got there on the second workout on Friday. I was kind of surprised how when the workouts were going on, I mean, you had cheers, and it seemed like the community was into the workout. And then when it was over with, of course, they would say something about Lazarus, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, that happened. And it's like me and my wife was like, man, we kind of need a do-over because, we didn't get to experience a non-drama filled games, and it either had this sense of it almost felt guilt to cheer and have fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I was
Wait,
really
let me ask you about that. Did that guilt come from do you think that guilt came from you, or you got it from other people? Because like I did not personally, I really appreciated, maybe enjoyed isn't the right word. I really appreciated the experience, and I'm so fucking glad I was there for all of it. It's going to go down as a really rich part of my life and make me a fucking better person. And
yeah, exactly.
But I didn't
go
feel
ahead.
like I had to feign sadness, and I felt like there were people around me who were sad, and often I would have the thought, are they feigning this or is this real?
Well, so the people that I was around didn't really talk about the incident. They were talking about the competitors on the field. They were talking about the workouts. They were talking about all this. And then when I got the kind of sadness is when the athletes would say something after a workout. So when the workout was going on, I was completely into the workout and thinking about this and who's winning and who's in front. And then I thought you don't really see this when you watch it on TV, but being there live. So like they're all on the pull-up bar. The workout where it was the three, where they did a 200-meter run, toes the bar, and then the dumbbell snatch.
Yes.
So when everybody's on a pull-up bar, you're watching, and then when like one person would jump up to the snatch, like, okay, this person's in the lead, you would hear a big roar from the crowd.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting. I was like, man, this is exciting. This is really good.
The workouts were great. The competition was amazing.
And the thing I didn't really realize that I did was we stayed for the teams. We watched all the teams.
Wow, good on you.
And to me, and so during the, telecast, that's why I turn the TV off. When the individuals start, I'll watch it, but being there live. And I think because we want to watch Carol Sanders work out, Noah Olson work out, and Chandler Smith work out. So that's kind of, I guess, helped with us with the teams, because they were on the teams.
Right.
And yeah, but I think that knowing what happened on Thursday, that when everybody's working out, then all of a sudden they get memorial, you're like, oh yeah, something really bad happened. And I don't know. We did have a good time. I'm not ashamed to say that we did have a good experience. Like if they had, the next year they have the games, it's at Texas, we're going.
Yeah.
And but it was a good experience for us. I had an experience with drowning, and so I've been through all the motions. Like I had I wrote to you about it one time. I had a 5-year-old son that drowned.
Oh man.
And
how long ago was that?
That's
how long ago was that?
2010.
Okay.
2010. And yes. And so, and then about 2013 is when I started CrossFit. And that's really what helped me get back to living, was doing CrossFit. It put me around people. I had an hour that I was focused on the workout, that I wasn't thinking about all my troubles. So I walk in, I could count on that hour to know that I wouldn't be depressed about, things that are happening in my life. So I go in there, and the thing about CrossFit is you don't have to think about a workout. You just go in, here it is, this is what you do. Boom. It could be mindless. You just go in there and do the movements. And then so had an hour that I didn't think about anything but the workout. And also it put me around people, smiling people excited, and so that really helped me. And I think that with the athletes, I can imagine how, in the back, I'm sure they're worried about it, but then when they get on the field and they're working out, that was an hour that they didn't have to think about it.
You know what? When you say this, the thought I had was, I wonder if they felt guilty for that. I wonder if they couldn't even enjoy it. Like for you, you knew it was important to you and moving forward. And so it wasn't guilt, it was reprieve, right?
Yeah, and I understand the difference.
And
I totally understand
I
the
wonder if
difference.
because they were working out in front of other people that they almost felt guilty for it, which absolutely they should not. I mean, because think of also what they gave the fans and the fans, right? The grieving fans also, even though they weren't working out, they got a moment of reprieve and stillness. You know, when you're watching them work out, your mind kind of goes still. It's a meditative state, right? And you're breathing, and you're just reacting to their, you know, kind of placement and their trials and tribulations. Yeah, what a great what a great testimony that you just gave. I mean, that's really that's something else. And you have 2 other kids now?
Yeah, so I had me and my ex, the mother of the child that we lost, we actually had 2 boys at the time. And so we lost the oldest one, and we eventually got divorced. And I think I was divorced for about 8 years, and 8 to 9 years. And then I did CrossFit. I was heavily in the CrossFit. Like I was 2 times working out, you know, just all the time. And then I found the love I didn't know I had. And so with that, I mean, I was doing weightlifting competitions. I got certified. I got my L1. I got certified coaching in USA weightlifting. So I was heavily, that was my life. And I got remarried. So I think I was 43, 44 when I got remarried. And then so me and my current wife, we had 2 other children.
Hey, did the death of your child cause your divorce? Was that like part of it?
Yeah, definitely. We just couldn't, just you know, things come up, things were said.
Yeah.
The nature of it, like they were with our parents when the accident happened, and you know, you're not in the right spot, frame of mind. The thoughts you have when your child passes, is you can't explain it unless you experience it. So, anyways, but so I got remarried, and she's in the CrossFit as much as I am, and so we had 2 other children. And the thing is, you know, it's been, he was 5 when he died, and he'll be 20 this year. But I wouldn't have these 2 kids if that accident wouldn't happen. And I'm not saying that, you know, I would take it back, of course. But now here I have these other 2 kids that are just precious and I love. And time helps. Believe it or not, time helps.
Yeah.
Time heals. And but you know,
so you understand you understand then when your son passed, the gravity, the thoughts that came were so strong that it starts to become impossible to distinguish between what's real and what you're thinking, because the thoughts are so fucking intense and loud.
Yeah, and so with the athletes in CrossFit, and I thought a lot on this.
Yeah,
I thought every angle on this. The games was too big to cancel.
Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by that, but
now,
go on.
So you know, people are like, should we cancel the games or should we continue the games? Well, I mean, you got contracts and sponsors and vendors and people. You know, you got people that came from overseas. Thousands of people.
Let me put that in perspective. So just like, let me use an extreme example. When you say contract and vendors, we all know, if you know the vendors, and I know a lot of vendors, you know that like they went out on a line and put their business in jeopardy by spending all that money. It was their moonshot. Okay, I'm going to spend $20,000 to get a booth. I'm going to get another $50,000 worth of inventory, and fuck, I hope this works.
Yes, and not only that though, I had people cheering, or support people from overseas. Like somebody came from, I think, I mean, I may get it wrong, but I think Spain or something like that.
Of course, thousands and thousands of people there came. I mean,
travel from overseas, was it $10,000? Probably, I would think travel, airplane tickets and hotels and this and that. And I'm not saying that put money on a life. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Right. And that's where people are going to take what you're saying, by the way. That's where people are going to take what you're saying.
Well, no, so that's why I said CrossFit's too big. Because I mean, just think if they cancel the games, they would have probably lawsuits on their hands from all kinds of different. They had to refund all the tickets. They would have to probably lawsuits for lost money, all these things. And so here you have they got to deal with the Lazarus death. Then they got to deal with canceling all the stuff. So if they had enough people to have a competition, the best path forward was for CrossFit was to have the competition.
But see, so if I do the algebra there, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I just want to be very clear. What you're saying then at that point, though, is you're saying it is about the money and the lawsuits and what's to do for convenience. Whatever that music is back there is too loud. Sorry.
Okay, well, I'll walk away. I have I'll work out in my garage, and I have a TV playing, so I got kids stuff playing.
Yeah, thank you.
So, anyways, so I'm just talking about the business side and CrossFit's perspective.
Right.
You would
what's practical is another way to say it, but you are saying money and not just CrossFit's money, but the whole thousands of other people's money.
Yes. So the games has gotten huge. I didn't realize how big the games were when I went to Vendor Village. The amount of people and the displays they had, and all the inventory there, and there were thousands of people that were still there. And so when it happened on Thursday, I told my wife, I said, she goes, "Are we going?" And I said, "Well, if they have the competition, we are," because I spent $1,600 on tickets.
Right.
So I said, if they have the competition, they're not going to refund my money.
Right.
I said, so we're going to go.
Right.
And so all Thursday, I kept listening to you, to Barbell Spin, trying to find out if we were going to go or not. We have babysitters, that were going to come to our house, watch our kids. And so it went like late Thursday. So I was like, okay, we're going. They're having the games. And then we got there. We saw people like dropping out. I'm like, oh, great. Is everybody going to drop out? Or we have... So they had enough, I think, to have the games. And actually, we did have an enjoyable experience as far as watching the competition and the crowds. Like Dave said, Dave was like, he said when the demo team was working out and the crowds were cheering them on, he knew that the energy was going to be there. And the energy was there. For me, that's the first time I've been. Now, it could have been way more other games that I haven't experienced, but what I experienced so far, as far as the games perspective, was positive.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
And the crowd, I mean, people were cheering. They were, now, there wasn't as full as I thought. There were some missing seats, but I think a lot of people were they're probably hanging out in Vendor Village. The missing seats.
Yeah.
But it was probably 90% full.
Yeah, I thought it was where I looked up from the media pit, it looks sold out at all times. But I mean, it just looks crazy from down there. All right, thank you so much.
And so,
go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the conversation. Appreciate
all right, thank you, brother.
Oh, I was going to say one thing.
Yes.
Thank you for the Lazarus Jukits interview.
Oh, you're very welcome.
That is a treasure right there. I didn't know the guy. And so I went back and I almost listened to 90% of your stuff, but I didn't listen to Lazarus because I really didn't know him much of an athlete.
Yep.
And so the fact that you have a 2-hour interview with him like 3 months ago, I think you are to repost that on your page and where it's highlighted, because that's a treasure that you have, that conversation with him.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Bye. I have several interviews with Lazarus. Well, I shouldn't say several. I have at least 2 interviews with Lazarus prior to him taking that first event. I also was interviewing him as they did the lineup for the event. And I don't know what to do with it. I don't know whether to post it. I don't know what to do with it. I think I'm just going to pass it off to Will and Rios and see if they're going to put it in the behind the scenes. I don't know what to do with it. Caller, hi.
Saban, how's it going? It's George from Tampa.
George, what's up, dude?
Not much, brother. So I was listening in and I guess wanted to just acknowledge what the last caller said about, seeing loss and things like that. But I did want to bring up something about what Dave Castro said after when they proceeded right after the tribute, and he had brought up that the process that they went through in determining if the games were going to continue. And basically, one of the first things he said was, they got Luka's blessing. Like Luka said, he gave his blessing for them to continue. And then that was before the meeting with all the different athletes and representatives or coaches. And then based off of that, though, he said people were apprehensive to speak honest. But I mean, he went into so much detail of how they broke up into groups, et cetera. And then they ended up sending out the surveys, and more athletes were desiring to compete, versus what they were leading on in that in-person space. So, but then thereafter, a lot of the things that got stirred up on Instagram, like with where Luka had put a post out, and I could imagine how he felt, but where he said, you loved the sport that didn't love you back. It just seemed kind of like a polarity, like a conflict between what was said and not. So I just wanted to ask you if, you sensed any kind of, that there was maybe information that was left out.
I don't know if there's information that was left out, but you have people's reactions were flip-flopping left, right, and center, right? So 1 minute someone would be patting Dave on the back, you're so strong. Then 2 minutes later, you hear them stabbing Dave in the back, in the back. Or athletes who wanted to proceed, then didn't want to proceed. And I'm certain that athletes who pulled out will, as time goes forward, because what will wane will be the pain.
Yeah.
And I'm very strong in my belief that they will regret pulling out. Now, that's just a thought of mine. But I know that every time I've had to face adversity and I didn't face it, I regretted it every single time.
Yeah.
And it leaves me, and when I mean regret it, it leaves me emotionally hurt. Like I didn't leave emotionally intact because I didn't face the adversity. It's like Tony Blauer said to me one time, if you get into a fight, the most important thing is to leave emotionally intact, not to win or lose. And basically we were all put up to a fight. And I can also tell by their posts, when people go out, I can tell that they won't say anything objective. It's all subjective. Like they'll say, I listen to my heart, or I listen to my values, or I listen to my morals. Those don't mean anything. Those are just place words for something that they're not addressing. Because you would say, hey, I'm a Jew and I can't compete on Sundays and I follow that Bible. Or my values are that when someone dies, you have to take 7 days of no electronics and sitting in a room. You know what I mean? Like when they don't tell us what it is. I mean, this is all so reminiscent of Floyd 19, George Floyd, COVID.
I was thinking that
the social pressures and the vocal minority. I feel like now that 52, I've seen this shit play out. Like I see all the patterns, and because and once again, the NPCs we know their playbook, right? And so because we're all NPCs, and then we have a choice to wake up out of it. But those, and I'm not saying that you wake out and you stay out, but you vacillate back and forth, right? Between doing what you're automated to do versus what you consciously can do.
Yeah, and bro, and to add to that, and not to be in conflict with what anyone else like that was actually there said, but and again, I think Lazar's passing is the biggest tragedy that the CrossFit community could experience, just based off the circumstance. But I do think that just knowing how Dave is, from how he talks, he does his week in review every week, he put himself out there consistently, that if the consensus was to cancel the games altogether, that's what would have been done. That's my opinion.
Well, listen, if the athletes wouldn't have taken the floor, it's just like the masks thing on the airplane, right? If no one would have worn masks on the airplane, the airlines couldn't have enforced wearing masks on the airplane. They would have had to move forward, or else all flights would have stopped, right?
Yeah.
But everyone wore the masks and everything moved forward, and the super minority that didn't wear masks, who stood for what they believed, they got kicked off the planes. But if the athletes were like, fuck, and once again, No one said exactly why. Like I haven't heard one person say, "Holy fuck, ever since Lazar died." So when you were there and they told you that Lazar was missing, this wave of nausea swept over the crowd. So I would say to someone, "How do you feel?" And they say, "I feel sick to my stomach." And that's how everyone felt. Like you were dropped out of like you were like almost like you know, like those rides where you drop really fast.
Yeah.
Everyone, a lot of, I shouldn't say everyone, a lot of people were having that feeling like, oh shit, like all of a sudden you felt viscerally sick to your stomach. And,
Yeah.
and so if the athletes were like, hey, I don't want to go on because I don't feel like myself and feel like I'm going to throw up and I feel sick to my stomach and I don't want to go out there and perform at 80%. And they didn't go out there. And let's say all the athletes said that. Well, at 3, 2, 1, go, we would just all be standing there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
No,
so,
for sure.
no one was forced by gunpoint. I mean, that's for sure. At the end of the day, in the utmost reality, everyone had a choice. I mean, the judges could have walked out. Anyone could have walked out, not for any reason, right? I mean, if you're a judge and 5 minutes before the starts and you chop your hand off, a forklift back there runs over your hand, you're not going out.
Yeah.
So,
No, for sure, man.
yeah.
But
So
yeah, I just thought I'd bring that up. You know what
okay,
I mean?
thank you.
I know it's such a heavy situation, and unfortunately, it just seems that it's just another opportunity for all the other haters of CrossFit to attack. I just think that I think it's just no matter what, like I said, it's a tragedy, and I don't think anybody would wish that to ever happen to Lazar or any other athlete. It's just, I do feel there was, the athletes may have flip flopped, and it's kind of the morning
And that,
process in general. A lot of times it's like,
and I'm okay
anyways,
if they flip
yeah,
flop. By the way, you know what? Like,
yeah,
like thoughts aren't thoughts aren't thoughts don't stay straight. It's okay to 1 minute want to be out there, next minute not to, next minute to. It's just whether you have the tools to let those thoughts go or decide which thoughts that you want to make relevant to you, as opposed to just reacting to thoughts. And you won't get that opportunity back. That weekend has
yeah,
come. That weekend has come and gone. And then if you post stuff
definitely.
online, you sure as hell better be understanding that you're going to be judged to fucking back, because that is the premise of going public with stuff.
That's true.
That's the
That is
whole
absolutely
premise.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I could see that's possibly why maybe CrossFit is not, or Dave, or like how they would represent something in that manner, why they maybe are waiting to really disclose more information, and not in a sense to hurt the community or damage the athletes. I think it was more getting more information and finding the best way to say something. But brother, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate what y'all have done. I mean, I did hear you when you were there. When things had happened, you're like, man, I just want to be with my family. And just watching from home, and this is like the highlight of our year. And I coach at a CrossFit affiliate, and it was something that was palpable across the board. So just the fact that you said that, I felt the same way, man. And yeah, brother, I just hope there's a way forward and that it can be constructive, not destructive, not like burn the house down just, because, something happened,
The
So
NPCs do want to burn the house down. That is the
yeah,
that is the
yeah,
our default is to riot.
yeah, exactly.
It's
And I
it's
think
it's
cooler
what
heads have
it's
to
what
prevail.
yeah, it's what the definitely, I don't know what the word is, lower consciousness will do. It will burn the house down.
Yeah, brother. Well, brother, have a good day, man, and keep on doing your thing.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Later.
Bye. And to be honest, I don't think fighting back against those people necessarily is the best way. If we can process together and understand those people, well, first of all, understand ourselves, then those things will take their evolution. Those thoughts will take their evolution. It's frustrating when people say someone died because it's part of God's will. Why is that frustrating? It's insensitive and lacks understanding of God and his purpose. I don't understand. I understand why someone could react to that, right? You're like, you know, your wife dies and someone's like, "Hey, it's okay, it's God's will." Maybe it's insensitive because then all of a sudden you feel like there was something out there that was bigger and better than you that took your wife from you. It's like having her stolen from a richer, stronger, healthier, nicer, more handsome guy. I don't know. I mean, I understand the mechanism of it, but I don't know. I wouldn't walk up to someone whose wife just died and be like, "Hey, don't worry, it's God's will." But caller, hi.
Stevie, Susie Tao.
Susie, what's up, girl? Good seeing you this weekend. I really enjoyed seeing you.
You know what? Yeah, I enjoyed seeing you too, man. It was I'm here to be judged this morning, so I'm just calling in and putting it all out there.
All right, let's judge you. Put it out there. Let me get my I got my pencil and paper ready. I'm ready to attack. Go.
Yeah, well, I'm glad this is being recorded so everyone can tell me what an asshole I am later. Anyways, yeah, no, it was good seeing you too, and just wanted to call in and thank you for being there, and Sousa and Taylor, and it was felt good to just hug all you guys and high five each other. As you all know, I was there sitting at a crazy seat. Finally made it to the finish line, front row.
You had a badass seat. Congratulations. Your seat was awesome. And thanks for sharing it with me.
I know. I was so glad you came over to get some good coverage. Yeah, and I was ready to leave on Thursday. Like I was just waiting for people to tell me what to do, because I'm kind of like, I'm Susie Sunshine. Like I'm there to like raise everybody up if that's what they want. Or if they're like, no, you should just like leave your Airbnb and get on a flight and go back home. I was looking at flights and like,
me too, by the way, me too. I was ready. I was ready to go home too. I totally know that feeling. I remember being in my hotel room looking at my shit and being like, fuck, if they call this, I'm having my wife get me on a plane out of here like ASAP. I'm ready.
Correct.
I'm ready to go home.
Yeah, I called my husband and I was like, hey, I think I'm coming home. This is horrible. It was all over national news. So he, everybody knew. Like everyone's calling you, like, what are you doing? So, and it was horrific. It was absolutely horrific in that moment, God damn. Anyways, so that was it.
Did I smell it all this weekend when I was near you? Because I bought a stick of deodorant and never used it because I don't normally use deodorant. But
yeah, you just a little bit.
I was ripe. Okay. You're the first person I've asked that to. If anyone else, if any of my friends can tell me. So when I got close to you, I had BO?
Just a little bit.
But enough that you remembered. Enough that you remembered. Okay, that's good. That's interesting. Okay.
I can't believe our conversation has gone to this.
I'm very selfish. Sorry. I was just curious. I had you on and I was like, oh, who could I ask that to? Okay, that's good to know. I did buy a stick of like antiperspirant, but I just forgot to use it.
Yeah, and I stopped wearing perfume a while ago because you had said that you didn't like that. So anyways, it's okay. We're good.
Okay.
But I don't even know why I called in. I guess to be judged, but also just to say like that was my experience because we all know what's best, right? Like we're all putting ourselves out there like, oh, I know what should be done or what shouldn't be done or whatever. I don't really know. And I really don't, I have an opinion. I just was, hey, I'll get on a plane and go home or I'll stay. And so they stayed. They said, we're going to go. And they said that Luca was there for the meeting. I was hearing from an athlete that was in the meeting saying that Luca walked out there and said, gave his blessing. I didn't hear that. I heard, yes, you can go on. But as you all know, I guess later that wasn't okay. But I for the athletes that came to the finish line and wanted a high five, they got a high five,
Of course.
I mean, the athletes that put it all out there, that That's what I was there for. And so I stayed. And that was my 4th games. I had gone to 21, 22, 23 in Madison. So this was a different experience all together, and I wish it wasn't that way. And I honestly, I think it hit me when the wheels hit the ground yesterday in Reno. For me, it hit me that like someone did not make it home. That's when it hit me, because I kind of just went on Susie's sunshine mode for the last 4 days. That was it.
Well, you brought a lot of happiness to me, and every time I looked over at the seat and I saw your giant boobs, I felt warm inside. I was like, wow, those things are amazing.
Oh.
So,
well, I'm really glad that I
you.
could bring that to the forefront in the finish line.
Thank you.
I
Yeah, it
hope all
was
the
great.
athletes-
I
and
think
of course, my booth said CEO all the time. Too.
Yeah, I loved seeing there. You're very positive. You're sweet, and you're fun to look at. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
And so you guys have. I hope I got judged really well on this call.
All right.
I love you, dude. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Ciao.
Big Jess, thank you for your coverage and thanks for using Becca. Yeah, Fusile was cool. I didn't get to hang out with Becca much because she's such a hard worker and she was doing her own thing. But the little bit I did get to hang with her, I really enjoyed her. She's a class act, and I felt I don't know, safe around her. I feel like I could be myself around her. Call her. Hi.
Hey, Sophie, how's it going?
Good, awesome.
I was I think I called back like last year. This is Harry Paratestes. But
hi, Mr. Testes.
But I was a therapist for a number of years, and the whole CrossFit Games experience this year, I wasn't there. But I was talking to my wife throughout the whole thing as we were watching. I think I'm going to put some words to what I think you're describing and what others have described. But it seems like a lot of folks had survivor guilt and still do to some extent, in the sense that, you experience this tragic loss, and whatever the circumstances of somebody's death, it's terrible. But people have and wrestle hard with this notion that they themselves can continue to live and feel good about that. And I think, in the clinics that I worked at, often we would get folks in either, former vets, family members that have lost somebody to suicide, different things like that. And it's kind of this recurring conversation that I had with them, which is like, at some point, you can give yourself permission to be glad to be alive, despite your family member, your friends, whoever, having passed. And I think for most, I would have to imagine for most of these athletes, it's kind of a similar thought process in terms of the competition. We experience this death. How is it okay that I continue with this, in comparison, silly fitness competition? And on the whole weekend, I kept telling my wife, it's like, it's okay to, in the light of tragedy, it's okay to sit there and think, holy hell, I'm glad to be alive. And
that was that was like those were 90% of my thoughts.
Sure.
Holy shit, I'm so glad I'm alive. Holy shit, I'm so glad I'm alive.
Right. And I'm sure that it's not because you had this thought of like, man, I'm glad it was him and not me, but you realize in those moments.
It was like, holy shit. The next superficial thought above that is like, why would, and maybe this is just, this is going to be rough to say, but I thought I was handling it the best because I thought if I died, I would want other people to seize the day. I thought that would be the greatest value someone could get from my death would be to seize the day.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I would want other people to think if I died. Not, I would just want them to be like, oh, fuck, that could have been me. I better fucking do something great today.
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
That's what I just kept thinking. Sevy, do something great today. Do something great today.
You know, and I think that's I mean, speaking from my perspective, you know, having been in clinics and whatnot, I think that's one of the only perspectives you can have going forward that will actually produce some sort of healing.
And it makes sense completely logically too, right? Like, dude,
100%.
you don't even have to fake it. Let me ask you this about the survivor's guilt, because here, let me tell you some of the thoughts I had, and I'm not suggesting that any of these are. I realize that they're just thoughts. Let me, Mr. Therapist, let me tell you this. Ask you this. So those of us who have kids, we right away. The reason why it was so powerful for us is because we indulge in that for a second. What if that was my kid?
Mm-hmm.
We don't even do what if that was us, right? The first thing is, fuck, what if that was my kid? And that elicits a real powerful fucking emotion. And so I watched that come and go. But what I was thinking, what a lot of other people and maybe younger people who haven't like seen, you know, murder mayhem in front of their own eyes, or just you know, death or shit taken away from you, gone forever. I was thinking that they maybe felt a bit of their own mortality, that they were rocked. The first time I saw some 5 people get killed right in front of me, and I remember for a few days, like I didn't even know it was real anymore. I felt like maybe I had been killed, like my own mortality was just facing me. Do you think that was a huge element too, especially for the athletes? Like they felt like the Grim Reaper run through their soul. You know what I mean? Like they were taken by it. Like they're like, oh shit, I had and that's why the people who have the Bible as a tool had the tools to deal with it the way they did. Because they have tools, you know what I mean? That's part of their practice, is how to deal with death. Whereas most people's practices don't do that. You know, their daily practices is like work out, eat, you know what I mean? Masturbate, post online. But these Bible people, they got some tools like how to deal with death that like are in their forefront.
Yeah, I certainly think that is a relevant fact. You know, I was telling my wife, I think it was Sunday. I said, you know, obviously you get into a car wreck and people die and it's tragic. You know, my dad was in the military. He saw a bunch of his friends die. Tragic. One of the conditions, though, that I, you know, again, just speaking from my clinical experience, one of the things that can make situations like this far worse is the context in which the tragedy occurs. So, you know, if I go to war, it's easy to make sense of death, easier to make sense of death, because that's what war is.
Right.
It's people dying. But in this situation, we're all incredibly healthy. We're the tip of the spear of fitness. We're at the celebration of fitness, and somebody dies. And the context doesn't fit the tragedy. So rationalizing that experience in the position of being at this celebration of life and human movement and everything, you know, only makes it that much more difficult. And to your point, you know, it's kind of a pearl clutching moment where you go, holy shit, like this could have happened to me. And it's not because, you know, I'm diabetic. It's not because I'm obese. It's because it's a freak thing that just occurred. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you know, this is going to be, you know, obvious to everyone. Everyone's had this thought, and I'll say it out loud anyway. You're exactly right. And in this circumstance, a really close example was if he was running and he would have collapsed, and people were there to perform CPR on him, and an ambulance took him away in 30 seconds, and he died, it would have been fine. But this issue has gotten complicated and messy, is because he died in the water. And there was a lifeguard next to him, and they didn't get his body, and he went to the bottom. And so this has made it very now we have a rich narrative around also emotionally processing, which allows the blame game to just skyrocket, right? Which is kind of our default. Blame game, attack. That's the whole NPC thing. That's like just the, psychology, the 101 reactions all over the place we're seeing.
For sure. And I did want to touch, just lastly, I wanted to
Please
touch
take
on
as
your
much
point
time
about-
as you want. I love having you on. I already feel better. I'm ready to end the show. Before
Well,
someone
please
says
don't,
something to
because I want
fuck
to
it
listen
up.
to more. But you had mentioned the point about Christians and their toolbox, and outing myself. I am a Christian. I certainly don't force that on anybody, but I think one of the
I don't mean it even as a positive thing, by the way, or a negative thing. It's just the objective reality.
Sure.
It's just part of their tools. You know what I mean? It's just like, and I know it's just part of their tools. It's like people who practice self-awareness. I'm so glad that I have a strong practice so I can see thoughts come up and don't have to react to them. Brings me such peace.
I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay, good. Okay.
I think, thinking about that toolbox and my own experience of being a Christian and, at times struggling to use those tools and trying to be diligent at using those tools. I think something that is easy to criticize, and I certainly get, a raised eyebrow every once in a while, is the whole, I think, my experience and my thoughts on Christianity and a lot of, just using Mayhem, we'll use them as an example. A lot of the discourse and the things that you talk about, you're wrestling with paradox constantly. So you're wrestling with, hey, in my purview, there's this creator that's created everything with a purpose. I don't know what that purpose is in absolute terms, but I know that there is this purpose. And so on that footing, I have confidence that things are justified to occur. But on the other side of things, tragedy exists in the world. So despite there being this purpose, I have to also wrestle with the fact that tragedy happens and I can't justify why. And I don't have those answers readily available to myself or to other people that have experienced that tragedy. And so I think in some cases with this toolbox can provide at least the human brain is this framework to wrestle with that paradox, or at least make as much peace with it as you possibly can. Because I think our lives, we're never going to fully be at peace with that paradox of there being a purpose to suffering and also the realities of suffering being so terrible. But when I heard Mayhem and Sprague talking and whatnot, I took myself out of the Christian camp for a little bit, and I thought, despite the origins of these thoughts that they're having, they're applying a broader thought process that's healthy, which is kind of what we were getting at, where it's like we can all experience this terrible thing and still move on and still continue to live, and also just admit to ourselves that it's tragic, but we don't know why it occurred, and that's okay. I think that's what I got out of the more Christian-y rhetoric that was getting shared at the games. But in general, whether or not you're a Christian or not, I think going back to your thoughts, it's like, in therapy all the time, we're telling patients like, hey, your thoughts pass through you. They're not a part of you.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts change.
You're responsible for them, but they are not you.
Right. My foot's a part of me.
Right.
My thoughts just go through me. So in these moments of tragedy and whatnot, it's like, yeah, I can have these like crazy reactionary thoughts and these feelings and everything. And that's good in the sense that, like, yeah, get it out, like let it out. But understand that as that's occurring, you can also accept it, and not accept it like gladly, but just recognize like, hey, this is just reality. Like, we have to accept these things as a part of life. And once you do that, like, slowly over time, like that one caller said, like, time's a great healer, but you'll make peace with it as much as you possibly could.
I want to just put that in context once again to what I said in the very beginning of the show. The really unfortunate part, or not fortunate, or the reality is, most people, when you say thoughts, have no idea what you're talking about, because they truly cannot differentiate between their thoughts and reality. And what happens at the blink of an eye is, like, when I was a kid, I would always hear people say, focus, focus, focus. And it wasn't until I was 25 years old and on a hit of fucking ecstasy, MDMA, and sitting at the beach by myself, and I was watching the seagull fly around, that I realized what focus was. And I was like, holy shit, I'm 25 years old. And I just understood what the definition of focus is. Like, I'm having a focused experience in life. And at that moment, I realized that all the other times I heard focus, it just would further put me to sleep, right? I would just maybe pretend like I understood it, or I wouldn't have the consciousness to stop and be like, hey, what does that mean? You know what I mean? I wouldn't ask for a definition or try to understand it. You just fill it in. And so what's happening here is you're sharing these ideas, but and when people are NPCs, they don't know they're NPCs. People don't know they're on autopilot. The consciousness is seamless as they vacillate back and forth between being unconscious and conscious. And so, you only know that you were unconscious when you wake up for a split second and look back. But when you fall asleep, there's no like ding, 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 you fell asleep. That's the fucking mechanism of falling asleep. It's like when you lose your car keys. You only know you lost them after you lost them. When you set them down, you're like, oh, I'm going to lose them. And that's the part that those of us who are having moments of consciousness or ability to see our thoughts need to take space and like cherish that and try to help the other people work through their shit, even if we disagree with it. Ask them the right questions to help them get through their shit. And it's hard. Well, I'm not saying I'm great at it either. My wife is.
Well, I don't think anybody is 100% perfect at it. I think I remember a few sessions with some different clients and whatnot, and we would talk a lot about kind of the art of self-forgetfulness. And it's not being like flippant and just being like, hey, I had this thing occur, I want to forget it, so I'm going to go like get, toasted off of whatever drug of choice and, go into mindlessness. But the art of self-forgetfulness is like, when you experience something, whether good or bad or what, and it usually is in the context of something adverse or tragic, but it's okay to move beyond your own experience. So forgetting how you're feeling in the instance, like a great example is you experience something and you go, holy shit, I'm so grateful to be alive. And even though that's about yourself, you're forgetting the tragedy and you're celebrating life.
Right.
So you're forgetting the thing that's neurotic, and sometimes it's appropriate, right? Like it's not always neurotic, but you've released yourself from this like self-centeredness, like this is my experience with this tragedy that may or may not have affected me personally, but instead this has given me awareness to life. This has given me an awareness to the appreciation I have to exist, how finite that is, how imperfect existence is.
You're right.
And yet it's also it's at the same time perfect.
I'm not going home. I'm not worried about how to get Lazarus' body home. I don't have to fucking go home and fucking unpack pack up his bedroom. I don't have to, for the next 50 years of my life, be like, hey, my brother passed away. That's not me.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what a lot of the athletes and staff and fans and whatnot will have to wrestle with. My wife was really kind of surprisingly hit hard by the passing. And, I reminded her, I'm like, this is absolutely tragic, but this is truly a tragedy for his family.
Oh my goodness.
This is not,
oh my goodness.
This is not, goodness. This isn't our brother. This isn't our relative. So we need to respect the fact and not make it a woe is me reflection for ourselves, but instead, honor the family, honor the tragedy by appropriately taking on what we need to take on.
Let me read you this. Listen to this. This guy wrote this, and this is interesting. Mike Sandone. I can't stand this shit. People attaching themselves to someone else's death. I hear him, right? So it's like, hey, there's people posting out there, I'm sorry Lazar's gone, and it's a picture of themselves. You know what I mean?
Right.
As if their grief is equal to or more important than Lazar's family. I get that, Mike. I totally do. But like this gentleman who's calling, it wasn't, she's not related to Lazar. She's probably never met Lazar, but she's still and she's unexpectedly feeling grief. She doesn't even know where it's coming from. She's probably like, what the fuck? Where's this coming from? Why am I crying? If you didn't know him personally, you're not grieving. Maybe grieving's not the right word, but this is, it's rocking people, whether it's touching their more. Yeah. It's thrown a pebble into people's ponds and people are feeling ripples, whether it's, affected their own, view on their own mortality. It's made them think about their value of life. It's made them think about, it still is affecting them. So, and I think a lot of us are really surprised how much it's affecting us. I trip on moment to moment, how sometimes it's like nothing to me. And sometimes it's like, I got to take a knee. And when it means in the moments it means nothing to me, I look back at the guy who has to take a knee and I'm like, wow, who's like, those two guys don't even really know each other. But they're both inside of me.
You know, even whenever I was watching the live stream, whenever, you know, people saw him go down and, you know, I caught Hiller's story and others, you know, I definitely shed a couple tears. And not because I thought like, oh my gosh, this is a huge loss to me personally, but because all of the thoughts that I had, like you said, it's like, what if my wife had experienced that? What if
you start thinking about his family? Like if I start thinking about his parents,
oh my gosh,
I fucking will start bawling. Yeah, I can't do it.
Right. You know, and I just think at the end of the day, I think for myself, it's always been healthy to share this with patients and then, you know, even preach to myself throughout my life. I will face enough loss for myself. I don't need to add anybody else's grief or loss or supplant myself into tragedy unless I am immediately affected by it. And I don't mean don't feel compassion, don't feel sympathy or empathy for it, but I don't need to make it, like you said, I don't need to be like, you know, R.I.P. Lazar and post a picture of myself taking a knee. You know, I think over time, I think things will shake out and, you know, people will heal to a much better degree than I mean, it's only been a couple of days. So,
right.
But, you know, at the end of the day, I just think, I feel like at the end of the day, at some point we have to give ourselves permission to say, yes, this happened at this event, and CrossFit still is a celebration of life and human movement and community, and it can grow gratitude rather than resentment towards the context or the company that put on this event where this tragedy occurred.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, sir.
Have a good one, Sevy.
Okay, bye. Call in anytime. Michael Wright, this whole thing is incredibly difficult to navigate, and the number of people looking for things to lash out about is lazy. Like if they were there, they would have done it perfectly. Yeah. It's difficult to navigate, but it's still so easy to recognize the patterns of how people are navigating it. One more thing. Sorry, caller. Hold on 1 second. Why did you turn off camera during search? Aren't you supposed to always keep camera on as a cameraman? Because I started searching for him. I was next to Dave when Anya came down, and Luca and I took off and started searching for him. So, there's that. I guess that's why. I guess I could have run around with the camera. Maybe I'm a shitty cameraman. The thrill of competition was immediately replaced by sorrow over and over all weekend. It was honorable. Yeah, for me, the entire thing was awake. I don't think there was a second where I think I spent more time being aware of Lazar than being aware of the games or the phenomenon that was happening because of his death. Caller, hi.
Hey, Sevy, this is Brad.
Hey, dude.
I was there. We were driving in, watching the live stream on our way up. Had a friend was on the event team and everything. We were kind of getting a little bit of updates. Don't really want to go into all that. I just want to kind of make it quick. I've been in CrossFit for about 3 years. Actually talked to you a little bit. You encouraged me to get an L1 and everything, just like really early on and stuff. And been coaching. And the thing that I was like kind of talking to my friends and some people in the box that were texting, asking about, you know, what's the the mood like? What's the thing going on? I said, man, it's really somber. You know, it's tough. Like, we don't know what's going on. But whenever I heard that it was going to continue, my thing was, I was like, one of my favorite things is when we do hero wads, when we do like a Chad, like a Veterans Day, or these things, like when we come together and there's like that shared suffering of celebrating a life of somebody. And that's how I kind of viewed the weekend. Is this is CrossFit. This is a community of people coming together, celebrating this, working out, shared. It's that, I love that shared suffering. It's like we're all going through this together, and just that mental toughness that you have to do to get through a workout. That's tough, and doing the stuff and being together. And so I got to talk to a couple of the athletes that had dropped out. Like, I met with Jeff Adler and didn't really want to talk to him about that. It was cool just to talk to him and just get some, he talked to me about breathing and stuff. And I know he was having a hard time. And, I talked to some of the Mayhem guys that, worked out with Lazar a lot and just kind of dealing with it. But, it was, to me, I loved whenever the athletes on the memorial, whenever they were walking out and it was still kind of quiet and we didn't know what to do, man, I stood up and started just cheering for them.
Good on you.
Man, I felt for them.
Good on you.
Like, I just was like, it's for them. Like, we're here. Like, if they canceled it, I'm out a couple $100 and I get to go home, but like for them, like, this is their livelihood. Like, I mean, I was there for them. Every athlete I got to see, thank them, and and even the ones that dropped out, I was like, just got to talk to a couple and it's like, hey, respect you. It was awesome. But I mean, to me, like, people de-affiliating because of what's happening and all this stuff, like, we don't know all the details. Like, just, it's a community. Let's love each other. Let's work hard. Let's get fitter. That's what we need to do. And so didn't want to take up a whole lot of time, but just wanted to kind of throw that out there.
Let me tell you something though that you just brought up, which I fall in this camp. There were people, and I respect the fact that athletes felt this, and I'm going to speak on behalf of the athletes. I think a lot of the athletes were like, fuck, one of our homeboys, our fucking brethren. And whether they knew Lazar or not, those people there have a very interesting bond. It's the same bond you have with the kid you went from kindergarten to 12th grade with that you never talked to. But when you hear he died, he committed suicide 2 years after high school, you're tripping. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like that. These fucking people have a bond that only they know. And they all have it with each other. And whether you're one of Lazar's close friends or just someone who was in a lane next to him, they shared bodily fluids. You know what I mean? There's something there. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of them felt like, holy shit, I'm moving forward with this fucking silly workout thing and this competition, and this guy died. Maybe it's survivor's guilt. I don't know what it is. But what you touched on is really what CrossFit means to most of us. It's our fucking daily coping mechanism. And so in the time of the most grief and most hardship, we're going to throw that thing away. That seems like insanity to me. And that's why that's one of the reasons why the show had to go on. This wasn't the fucking NFL. These weren't people going to an NFL game to sit down, maybe get in a fight in the parking lot, drink beers, and bond with their kid. This is a fucking coping mechanism. This is a lifestyle. This is like something we've embodied. And so, to just throw it out the door and call it silliness working out is complete mischaracterization. On the other hand, I do understand how the athletes fall on that side because they're the show ponies of the lifestyle methodology. But for the rest of us, it's like, whoa, we're going to go home and work out twice as hard to help process what happened to Lazar.
Right.
And we're going to clean up our eating and cherish life more. Yeah, it's a really interesting point you bring up.
I mean, in our gym, for example, there was, I can't remember her names and stuff, but, we would see, a CrossFit box in Texas. I'm in Arkansas. Mm-hmm. And so a CrossFit box in Texas, they lose a member tragically, whatever. And there's a WOD for her. Man, we would do that as our box things. Hey, this CrossFit box across, 2 states away or next state lost somebody. We're going to do this WOD to celebrate her and we don't know this person, and we're doing it. I had a friend that lost a child that did a fundraiser hero wide, and I said, hey guys, we're going to do this. This is going to be cool. Like 20, 30 people showed up on a Saturday to do this WOD, donated to it. It's like, they have no idea who these people are. And I think that's what's cool about CrossFit, is the community coming together. And that's what I took from this. And for me, again, I don't, there's some of those guys like, I know like Guy and some of those guys like Victoria, like they worked right alongside him. Like they were training partners. And I know other people took it really. I'm a Mayhem. Mayhem's my people. So I saw a lot of them. Like I get it. Those are your friends. You work with them, and it's tough to get in the mind state to go through it. And I don't, I think it's awesome that some of them stayed. I think it's great that some of them backed out. Like whatever. But my thing is just I just wanted to just say, like, pulling together and doing this. Like I don't know what's going to happen going forward, but I enjoyed being there. I mean, I cried. I went through emotionals just like a lot of people, emotions. And, but it was also fun to see people. I didn't get to see you. I saw you from a distance, but I didn't get to check. But, I enjoyed it.
You weren't close enough to smell
I
me?
didn't smell you. Okay. I got to smell Taylor, though.
Okay.
That was, and Bryson.
Oh,
and so
Bryson.
That was
my boy, Bryson.
And so I got to meet Taylor and told him I'm a youth pastor. I'm a pastor. And I told Taylor that even though, his language sometimes is rough, I love watching him. Don't change, be real. And I think he enjoyed that. So
kids love Taylor. Taylor would make a great fucking youth camp counselor, youth pastor. Kids love him.
Yeah, he might have to clean up. He might have to clean up the language a little bit.
He can do
it's
it.
All good,
he can do it around kids. Kids love
him. He was a cool dude. But anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. Appreciate all you do and following you guys. And you guys, and every time I talk to somebody, and it's just changing. Like talk to I got to talk to Taylor, talk to Spin, talk to Tyler and John and some of those guys, just thanking them for, what they do for CrossFit media and getting stories out and getting content out. And, you guys, and I tell everybody that Kill Taylor is the best show on the internet.
I agree.
My wife, every Saturday, she's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm watching people try to beat Taylor in this workout. And so I wish I was in shape enough to call in one time and even give him a go, but it would be awesome. But thank you anyway. I'll wrap up and be done. So
thank you.
Thanks, man.
Okay, bye. Jody Lynn, hugs to all my Sevonistas. Dang, Jody. Please know that Sevon and Scribble podcast plus Big Becca Insta post provided peace and comfort for me. Thank you for the entire crew for the weekend. I will say this, having Pedro there and Spin and John Young and Taylor and Bryson and these are all guys I talk to every single day. There's 13 of us and I talk to them every single day. It was a shame Bill Grundler wasn't there, but having them there was so awesome because every time I saw them, I could just hug them or look into their eyes and get like comfort and grounded. So I had a ton of support. Caller, hi.
Good morning, Savon. It's Olsen Dudes, Mr. Matt Olsen. How you doing, sir?
What's up, dude? Great hearing from you, dude.
Rough weekend as a family.
Yep. Your connection's really bad. Are you in a bad spot?
No, let me go here. Hold on one sec.
Okay. I'd really like to hear what you have to say. I know you have a lot of wisdom on the subject. Yes.
Here's my observation. I'm gonna take in a time machine when we met.
Please.
2013.
Mm-hmm.
It's about this time in August is when it happened, but the hot shots.
Oh yeah.
And for people that are new to CrossFit, I've been around since 2011. What this community does in tragic times.
Will you tell people what happened in Hot Shots and how brutal it was really quickly?
Okay. So I live in Southern California, and I've been a part of the same box since 2011, Chino CrossFit. And when Hot Shots happened, and Greg's original gym, Captain CrossFit, they put out a message that they were going to have a special ceremony for the hot shots that passed away in Yarnell, Arizona in a fire. And I got to tell you, my dad's been a pastor for 45 years.
Hold on one
in
second.
Los
People
Angeles.
have to know. So what happened there was
Okay,
19 CrossFitters burned alive.
Yes.
They were
Yes.
they went. Go ahead.
In a small town. Like when you go to Prescott, Arizona, it's a small town, and 19 CrossFitters died in one day together. And the most tragic thing I could tell people, and there were a lot of people there that day. We drove out from California to go there to spend time with the community because it felt like somebody in your gym was going through something. And I got to tell you, it's one of the most touching things. Every workout I've ever done, the most touching thing that I saw was that our community came together. And when we lost 19 people, the most memorable part of that day is, and you may remember this, when they let the butterflies go.
I do remember.
They had the kids come out, and everybody was crying. It was a tragic day.
There were a lot of people there. There were probably 1,000 people showed up to that gym, right? 2,000. It was insane.
It was,
right?
Yeah. It was. And what people got to realize is the fire station is directly across the street from Captain CrossFit. And I don't like to compare situations. I don't like to say, hey, this is that. But what I want to say, what's special about our community is it's almost like religion. I say that CrossFit and church are very similar in the sense of when tragedy comes, we pull together. And nobody has the right answer. But we have empathy for one another, to love on one another, to give each other some compassion every once in a while to say, how are we going to get through this? It's tragic what happened, but how do we not move on, but how do we keep memories alive? How do we uplift those that are still here? We're not going to be able to fix them. Not a lot of people may know Lazar, but not everybody did. So we all have to get through it in our way. And I watched it from Southern California on a phone. And I would say that I got to commend you and the CrossFit community and everybody for pulling together. And everybody's going to deal with it in their own way. Many prayers out to the family. Many prayers out to everybody going through a hard time. But just know this community is special. And nobody has answers, but I just wanted to call and say a memory like that is reminding me why I haven't changed from CrossFit to this. This is a special place. So I got much love for you, brother. And like always, love seeing what you're doing and keep crushing it.
Awesome. Thank you. Fantastic hearing from you. Call anytime.
All right.
Bye. Laura Spooner, I don't think you smelled. That's nice. That's good. Mike Jones, I love boobs. Always worth a comment. Dick Butter, boobs. I want to show you guys something. You didn't expect this today, that's for sure. Let me show you this. Oh my goodness. Oh, I want to show you this Craig Ritchie video. He did such a good job. Maybe this will be a 3-hour show today. I seriously thought it'd only be on for 30 minutes. Caller, hi.
Hi, Debbie. It's Clive.
Clyde, what's up, buddy? I've been reading some of your posts. You are a brave man trying to talk logic to the emotional herd. I was reading some of your stuff. I was like, wow. And you and I don't see, I mean, I really like you, and you and I don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but boy, I really admired you trying to insert logic in some posts. Man, you're a fucking beast.
I did wonder, I was really pleased to hear the start of your show to be reassured that you did actually see things similar to how I saw things, because it's lonely out there in the comments with that sort of opinion.
You are the majority of conscious people. You are the majority. You're just logical, but the internet can be a very emotional place. I think people's emotions are attached right to their fingertips.
Yeah, I do wonder if people's reaction to this, namely the athletes and some of the commentators in the space, I wonder, is their anger driving them to want people to feel guilt, or are they casting this big blame because they feel somebody should be feeling bad? Because one of the things you pointed out is there are people who are no doubt going through serious agony with their own guilt about what happened that day. And it feels like a lot of the athletes and a lot of the people recklessly commenting without giving any specifics are really just kind of
That's 90% of the posts. That's
some people.
95% of the posts are people saying just vague stuff. And that's why it reminds me so much of Floyd 19, George Floyd, COVID. Like, it's just like, hey, if you don't wear a mask, you're killing grandmas. I mean, it's just like, it's wild. It's wild, the stuff that people are putting out there, just to incite. It's wild with no specifics.
With so much of things in life, I want to get down to the detail. I don't know what it is about my personality. I just feel you got to get down to the detail, otherwise, shut up. And really, I don't feel like we need to add to any potential guilt, for example, of the paddle boarders on the water. But I mean, when I hear people talk about CrossFit, you can't even say, "Oh, CrossFit didn't have anyone on the water." They did, and unfortunately, the people were right there. And I don't want those people to have any feelings of guilt. But I mean, they're the first people who are potentially going to feel severe guilt when they read the comments or hear the comments of these great athletes who have this the soapbox or the audience to speak without, I think, thinking. But a lot of them want to then just blame very broadly CrossFit. And yet I wonder what their thought process is if it isn't those lifeguards or paddleboarders. Do they suggest that CrossFit didn't brief those people properly or train those people properly, or is it something to do with the temperature of the water or the event itself? Like, nobody is saying anything, and yet they're so sure the blame lies in that direction. But I don't understand how you can be so sure without having any specifics.
Right. Well, it's definitely the emotion, right? I mean, people are taking what little data they have and then mixing it with the emotional part, and then reacting to that, right? And then so they're kind of emotional, and then they just keep throwing in more pieces of data to build their narrative and having emotions. Let me say this to you. So this is something I was having to really, and I'm probably gonna. I hope I have the opportunity to talk to Andrew for another 5 hours today. I love talking with them. But here's what I was thinking specifically around that with Andrew Hiller. I think that the community is hobbled, right? And I think the leadership is hobbled, and HQ is hobbled, and the patrons of CrossFit are hobbled. Just the whole community is hobbled, and his influence on the healing, moving forward, getting what he wants, getting what other people wants. Well, I don't know exactly how to word it. I have to work it out with him and talk with him today. Is stronger than ever, right? And so, at what point do you if this were a funeral, and I'm not saying anyone has to buy this metaphor, but if we're in a funeral, where are you going to drive to next? And at some point, it's going to be. I hate to say that people have responsibilities, but at some point, because he's garnered so much attention, as we move through this, we have to figure out also where we're going to drive next. You know what I mean? And you said something that made me think that was relevant, but now I'm struggling to attach it to that. But I do think how we move forward is important, you know, as opposed to just utilizing this moment to drive people's own agendas.
It feels like with so many things that people are feeling pain, and their reaction is they want other people to feel pain because they feel pain.
I get that. Misery loves company. I loved it when I saw the other cameramen couldn't do what I couldn't do. That's, you know, that's a total common. Yeah, I get that. It's not healthy, that's for sure.
Yeah. Back to specifics, you know, people are maybe talking a lot before they even know exactly what happened in Lazar in a medical sense. I didn't catch the event live, so I only got to see the clips that were circulating around on Twitter and X, and in my mind, I thought when we could see the breaststroke, I thought that was essentially signs of him struggling. But then later on, I heard that athletes were doing a whole range of different strokes at different points, and so when I rewatched that clip, I honestly don't know if anyone could look at that and say he was definitely struggling versus making different stroke choices. Even the suggestion that the paddleboard should have seen something was wrong, I don't even know if that's true. He may have been absolutely fine until he wasn't, and it may have just been a split second. If the heart issue, if it's passing out, and the paddleboarders have multiple people they look the wrong direction for 2 seconds, he's under and they miss it. I just feel that a lot of people are just so desperate to get angry at someone and make somebody feel bad about it. When sadly tragic things just happen in this world, and everyone, there's no one in this live chat is going to avoid misery for long in this life. The more people you know and love, and you will face tragedy eventually at some point, and you just have to deal with that. And probably getting angry and finding people to blame just not help that in any way, I don't think.
Thank you. Don't let the haters hate. You're making complete sense out there. If you continue to post, just remember you make complete sense.
I hope the live chat haven't been too cross with my ranting, but
I'm so far behind in the comments. I can't.
Thanks for coming on.
Okay, thank you. Bye. From the United Kingdom. Sean, in every event in life, there's aversions or ascensions. Avoiding or moving above it, big picture. Ascension. By continuing the games, CrossFit chose ascension to honor Lazar and let the community be together. That's the way I took it. Rather than cancel it and give no guidance through. That's the way I took it. Now, Andrew has a very different opinion on that. And last night we talked a lot about that. And he's not saying crazy shit, like he's making sense to me. But that's how I feel too, Sean. Caller, hi.
Hey, Simon.
Hey.
This is Robert. I'm from Oklahoma. I called a couple months back or whatever, and just telling you I was coming to the games, and we were able to make it. And I was just listening to you, like you kind of started speaking my language when you were talking about the tools and carpenter and stuff like that. And so like that's what I do. I do like a lot of remodel work and stuff. And so, and also too, I am a Christian. And when you're talking about the tools, like if I show up to a job and there's a worker there, like sometimes like if they're missing something, like of course you're going to help them out, but sometimes you just like watch and wait until like they're like, hey man, do you have a hammer or something? And so like just being there and just seeing everything, like we were there like on the boat ramp, and we didn't have like good spots, but we saw Rebecca and all that stuff, and we went to go get breakfast. And while we were driving to go get breakfast, because we were just there for the individual event, like that's when we got all the news and all that stuff. And it was, obviously super heartbreaking. But my point is like that whole weekend is just like having those tools, like wondering like when is the best time to like say, hey man, I have the tools to help. Like here's my insight. And like, because at the same time too, like you don't want to push that stuff on, but at the same time, too, like you see, like the help is needed, and so it's just a real struggle. But I think I got a lot of the tools, is what I'm trying to say, is because too it's so crazy how things worked out. That same day after breakfast, like we're hearing all these things, but at the time, like you're just like in denial, or like is it just rumor? Or like hopefully they found them. Like you just don't know what's going on exactly. And so we were going back to the vendor's village. And the thing that like was really surprising to see it now in hindsight is like this stranger walked up to us and she's like, I don't know where I'm going. I'm going to follow you. And we're like, okay. So we started talking to her, and she was telling us that she had a gym, and she used to be a judge, and she was a judge, and we can see her on YouTube against what was her name? I forgot. But anyway, she was just telling us all her story, and she was telling us about her husband. And I was like, "Where's he at?" And she's like, "He's just not here." And so anyway, to shorten the story, I get her inside because we have a 1-year-old son, and he's in a stroller. And so like we bypass this huge long line to get into the vendor's village. And she's like, "By the way, my
Wait,
name's
you get
Sarah.
to
Can I sit-"
bypass vendor village if you have a fucking kid in a stroller?
Yeah, because we were
it's so
waiting
hot
outside.
outside,
Like the
right?
line was, yeah.
God
right.
damn, I love
And
hearing
she-
that story. That's amazing. I love that. Of course, if you're with a baby in a stroller, you get in first. Of course. Too hot to be
So she
outside
was
with
like-
that. I love that. Thank you for that. That great detail. Okay, go on.
So she was like, she was thinking that she was going to stay. I was like, "No, you're with us. Come on." And she's like, "But I don't have a ticket." I was like, "I got you. Come here."
Yeah,
And
right.
so, like,
right. You're the
I
nanny.
brought her
You're the
in.
nanny, girl. You're the nanny.
Yeah. But listen to this, Savon.
Yeah.
It's Sarah Wilkinson.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
And like we had no idea. We thought it was just like a stranger.
Oh shit.
And like
For
she's
those of
like,
you who
"Can I
don't
take a
know,
picture with you guys?"
Sarah Wilkinson's husband was the one who her husband Chad is named after. So obviously she's had crazy tragedy, right? Chad killed himself. The
Right.
workout Chad, the whole thing. That was one of the big themes of this weekend. And so you hooked up with her. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So she tells us, she's like, "Can I take a picture with you guys?" And we're like, "Sure." Like, yeah. And I thought it was just because, like, we helped her get through the line and all that stuff. But she's like, and we're like, "What's your name?" Like, we told her our names, and she's like, "What's your name?" And she's like, "My name's Sarah." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And I like, it wasn't until we were at the hotel later, because, like, I mean, you just lose faces and all that stuff, and just in the rush of everything, you just think it's just a random stranger. But like the way that it played out in my life, and especially with everything that went on with the weekend, you're just like, man, like, you just never know who you can help or who's actually helping you in those situations. And just to know, like, Sarah's been through all that stuff, and just like, again, like she seems super strong to even be at the CrossFit games and all that stuff. And I'm sure, like, I mean, the time heals and all that stuff. But I'm just saying, like, it was more of a help for me to be there and to see all these different things, and just the way, again, like, it's easy for me to say it this way because I'm a Christian, just the way that the Lord was working in my own life and helping me in those situations. And so, I mean, that's just, I saw you at the track. I yelled at you. I was like, "I love you, Sevy." And you turned around and you looked at me, and I could smell you from the track, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. But I saw you and I was like, "Savon," and you like kept walking. I think you were with that Laura lady, and then I was like, "I love you, Sevy," and that's when you turned around and you're like, "I don't know that guy," but anyway.
Did I
then,
smile
like,
at least?
so-
Did I smile?
You just looked at me for a split second. You just kept walking. You're pretty busy. But like, even still, like, I yelled at Dave too. Like, he was on the track on that side, and I was like, "Good job, Dave." And he looked at me and he kind of like smiled. And I was telling my wife too, like, on the way back home, I was like, "Man, like, I should have said something more to him, like, in that moment, like we still believe in you." Or like,
Hey, it means
I don't know,
a
like-
lot more than people know. It means a lot when people yell. Like, as humans, we're down there. I'm down there registering all of that. You know what I mean? Just sometimes you get a
Right.
little overwhelmed, but I'm registering it. And I try to smile, and I usually try to wave. And even when I'm running, like, I'll try to put my hand up because I want to give the feedback back. But it is, we are processing it. So when you say good job to Dave, like, you gave him like you feel that, like, there's no matter how small or how big someone takes that, they take it. And so don't think
Right.
it goes to waste.
Yeah. And so, like, I mean, those are the things that I feel like I kind of took away with it. I mean, it definitely is super hard. And again, like I was telling my wife, I was like, I mean, it's not like we're super close to Lazar or anything at all, but like, just that processing of just like the value of a human life, of a soul, like, that's what I feel like mainly hurt, like, the most. Of just like, I mean, you just never know what's going to happen from day to day. And so, it was crazy too. Like, I was preaching at my mom's church Sunday morning. And so just having that, like, in my mind too. And just, I don't know, just the way the whole weekend played out for us as a family. It was I guess, needed in some senses, but at the same time, they're very eye opening. And so I just wanted to share that and just, I mean, like nobody probably cares what I have to say, but I mean, those are some of the things that I kind of walked away with from the weekend.
I care. Those are two great stories. The Sarah Wilkinson and the fact that babies get in, don't have to stay in the heat. That shit's awesome. I fucking love that.
Yeah.
Hey, and by the way, though, those are also things like if you're in line and there's someone with a baby, like you let them go in front of you. If it's fucking 100 degrees outside, like don't be a dipshit.
Right.
Yeah, you just be like, dude, what? Get up in front of me. All right, dude. Love you. Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Evie. Bye.
Okay, bye. All right. I feel a shift in my mood. I think you guys served your purpose. I can go with the rest of my day. Carla, thank you. Smart membership purchase. Has anyone checked in on Dave? Yeah, I think a lot of people. I mean, I'll call Dave 5 times today. He might just say, "What do you want?" and I'll say nothing. But can my kids come over and shoot another squirrel? I'm expecting a podcast from Hiller and Young 2 hours after your death. That would be awesome. I expect a lot of donations to my kids' GoFundMe too. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, Sevy. Big fan, by the way. And also, I really appreciate, I guess, your efforts in kind of pushing through that whole event and through the CrossFit Games weekend. I was just like super glad you were, definitely trying to keep it going. So it must have been, I don't know, must have been hard. I don't know if that's true or not, but
it's easy. Anyways, once you get on, it's hard doing it. Like I don't like it for the like the big podcast we did that raised $200,000 for probably at least $200,000. Because we saw it go from 16,000 to just 178,000 when we were on the air. That one I did not want to do, and I was just laying on the couch. I went over to Taylor's house and Suze's house, and I was just laying on the couch. And Taylor's like, "Hey, dude, we got to go on." And so once I got on, I was happy, but it was hard. It's hard taking the first step. It was hard taking the first step. Even this morning, I was like, it was the first time I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if I'm ready."
Well, was it hard to like even like pursue what you're, like you're out feeling the same effect? And in my mind, I was just like thinking like, dang, like Savon's probably out there like just, feeling like he just has to push through. I don't know. Were you almost like hoping the weekend was over throughout that whole time?
Only when it first happened, like, you know what I mean? Like I went to like this mode where like, okay, I'm ready to run away from this. I'm ready to run away from this. You know what I mean? It's like, I get that feeling when I have to do public speaking, like right before I go on, I picture myself like running out to my car in the parking lot. Like it's always the same. I can always picture the same thing. I run to the car in the parking lot and I run away. So like part of me was like, oh, I just want to go home and be with my kids. But let me tell you, I'm so 1,000 times this weekend. I was like, wow. Anytime someone say, "How are you doing?" I'd be like, "Great." And I was like, man, I'm so not going to let this experience go to waste. I'm so going to indulge in this experience.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thanks for voicing that. But I guess you can shut me down if you've already spoken on this, but I mean, you've been in the CrossFit space for many, many years now, and I've been CrossFitter since 2012. So I feel like I've seen some of the evolution throughout the games, and I guess a lot of the narrative, especially from outside sources right now, are speaking on the unsafety or the safety of what the CrossFit Games has had in the past, which of course they highlight Murph and maybe other events, and of course
what happened at Murph?
Oh, they have the heat exhaustion. Everyone likes to highlight the Murph heat. But you've been in the background in the games for many years, and you've probably seen the evolution of safety, right? And so I'm thinking, even after the Murph situation, you started seeing like cooling fans out on the field, probably as a response to that event. And so everyone's kind of having this idea that CrossFit has been unsafe and there's just been negligence throughout the years. But I would almost like to say that we've just been trying to adapt as things come, and that we've not shied away, or that CrossFit hasn't shied away from safety. And I feel like Dave even tried to acknowledge the fact that, heat exhaustion was going to be a big factor in this games. And I mean, I don't feel like everyone's wanting to say that the swim event was negligible in the format that it was done in, but everyone's saying that after the fact. The only thing that anybody
Negligible
really
or negligent?
Or I guess negligent.
Negligent.
Sorry.
Okay.
Negligent.
I just want to make sure, because two opposite things. Because I think it was negligible, but other people do think it's negligent. But go on.
Right. So people are saying that it's negligent, but that they're saying that after the fact. The only thing that people ever voiced of any event for the CrossFit Games prior to the game starting was that there was just going to be hot. And so Dave even acknowledged that fact, that he's even thinking about, Dave's thinking safety ahead of time, and he's saying, well, I might even push back the event 1 hour earlier to kind of keep it in the cooler times. But I feel like people are ignoring that we've been wanting to keep it safe, but no one said that it was unsafe to have the swim after. Right?
I have such strong opinions on this that I don't want to put out, because I don't think this show is the right one for it. Maybe tomorrow, maybe tonight.
Oh, okay. And like I said,
but I will say this: I can just give you facts. The event started with the sundown, and it finished just as the sun came up. I can tell you that 99% of the people that I talk to who say that the games is very unsafe, when I start asking for examples, they have none. When I ask people like, hey, do you think that there is some risk at competing to be the fittest human being in the world? They try to pivot away. I would like to stay in as much as question mode for this podcast as I can, or just stick with the facts.
Right.
But I will let you know that I know that Lazar Jukic and Luka did that workout 3 days earlier, and that I spoke to Lazar about doing it, and he was and I'll share that. I don't want to put words in Lazar's mouth. I'm happy to talk about it, those things, but I'm 99% sure that not one person complained about that workout when it was announced, and it was announced 3 weeks ago. I mean, I could go on and talk. It's just of course, do I think it's bad that there's heat stroke when athletes are doing Murph in Carson? I do not. I do not. When you're going to be the fittest man in the world, do I think that we did something negligent by doing quarterfinals and Taylor Self passed out? I do not. I do not see it that way.
Right.
So so I'll tell you that, but at one point I will do a whole show and fucking completely obliterate, give my opinions on that. I mean, it's just it's more of just people doing the black square, in my opinion, from what I've seen, because I can't get them to give me illustrations or objective things. Your wife's a whore. Right. What did you see her do? You know what she does. Well, when did she do it? You know what she does. Okay. But what did you say she was? She's a whore. Can we define whore? Yeah, it's your wife. I get that. But anything else? Yeah, it's what your wife does. But how about, can you just tell me, like, what's whore mean? It's a word that starts with a W. And I'm just like, holy fuck, man. So I kind of like, maybe I'll do a show like that and just go to war, dip into the trenches, but I can't do it now. I could. I don't want to. This show's going so good.
No,
okay.
No, I get it. Now,
okay.
Like
Thank you.
I later, but thanks for your words.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, brother. Love you.
Okay.
Bye. Augustus, none of them virtue signaled. I'm not sure who I'm guessing you mean the athletes. I don't believe any of them handled it wrong. Fair enough. To each their own. Cool. Okay. Sebi's being himself here, saying he's right and everyone else is stupid. Oh, man. Fuck. Oh man, dude, really? Fuck, Pat. Hey, dude.
Hey, what's up, Savon?
Hey, will you hold on 1 second?
Of course.
Okay, thank you. I need to do I hope you don't mind. We're gonna do a 3-way with my wife.
Whew. Not really prepared for that.
Have you been using the exerciser? Damn, that's weird. I almost forgot her phone number. My brain is so fucking cooked. Oh, I can't merge you in. Damn. Sorry, I had to merge you in for the 3-way.
Hello, you've reached Haley. Leave a message. Thanks.
Fuck, maybe she'll call back. I need to ask her a question. Hey, what's up? Hey, dude. Oh, shit, I muted you. Hey, dude. Hey. Hello. Oh, no, wait. Hold on. Hey. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, she didn't answer. So no 3-way for you. But if she calls, I'm going to take it. And you can stay on, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's not it's very intimate, sounds like.
Go on.
I'm calling because we've met before a couple times here and there through like Northern California stuff. I've no way I don't think you can keep up with all the media that's going on. So I would if I'm hitting on something that's been talked about, but I've heard you say like the base of CrossFit is the first responders and military law enforcement personnel, and I'm from that community. I started in 2006 online because I wanted to get on a SWAT
So
team.
you know that. So you know that and you live that.
I will tell you, I lived every part of it.
Right.
I started CrossFit.
It's not that I
because my
say it
brother
is
was-
the base. It is the base. You know that and you live
Well,
it.
but I gotta say, like, I'm afraid that that's changed and that's what we're seeing. Like, my brother was a SEAL going through buds, and Dave was his instructor.
Wow.
And I was living in New York City, and I was getting fat eating pizza. And I told my brother, like, dude, I'm getting fat. And he said, you should try CrossFit. And I said, what is that? And he said, it's a website. Go there. And I did the workouts. Did one in a gym in Brooklyn, New York, and then said, okay, that was good. The next day, the workout was Cindy. I did that, and I haven't missed a day for 18 years. Moved to California for CrossFit and to work gangs and drugs. Got on a SWAT team. Decided I didn't really care about SWAT as much as I cared about CrossFit. Coached CrossFit, opened a gym. I've had a gym for like 11 years now.
Wow.
I've done every hero workout with my community. I was in the Army before. I've had friends that have died in combat. I've had friends that have committed suicide after being in combat. And I said to my gym after this happened, look, the brand I understand of CrossFit is that when people die trying to do great things, we honor their sacrifice by doing workouts for them. Like, that is our brand. And
wow.
I don't really understand what happened this weekend where you have, I can't even call
well,
it.
Here's the thing. It's that complexity of people wanting to blame.
Yes.
So someone took a shit in the graveyard, right? Where we honor people in the graveyard, someone took a shit in there, and and the shit is the blaming of his. Go ahead. If you were going to say it, I don't mean to steal your thunder. Go ahead. That's what complicated. I didn't realize it until you just said it. You just explained. Wow, this is the best part of the show. Wow.
So complicated because
not even complicated though. Simple. You just nailed it. Sorry, I'm just going to do it. We honor people who died, or people we love, or people who've done great things by working out with them and coming together because we know it's a transcendental experience and we can focus on it. And we didn't do that this week because someone dropped a casket and killed another guy. And so now we're like, maybe we shouldn't be carrying caskets. In an actual workout that's supposed to be our celebration of life, someone died. Wow. Holy shit.
Well, and then there's not only that, but then after someone goes, I mean, I remember when the Hot Shots thing happened.
Yeah, that was
and
wild,
that was very
right?
close.
By the way, those of you who think this is gnarly, that's a great reminder. When 19 CrossFitters died, that was fucking crazy in one fire. That was nuts.
And then Greg was living in Prescott, right?
Yep.
And And we were beating each other up to be like, what's the workout going to be? Like the next day, we're like, dude, 19 guys died. And I remember chomping at the bit going like, what's it going to be? Like, we want to do this just to sort of like understand or feel something that was powerful. And that, I mean, that's where I come to CrossFit from. Like, I know one guy that has a hero workout named after him, or I don't even really know him, but my brother was close to him and pulled his body out of Afghanistan. And same thing, like we were dying to do the workout for Kevin because we had some kind of connection to him. And for me, looking at the base, seeing the athletes not want to work out made me sad, because I would have wanted to do, I would just call, hey, this is Lazar 1, this is Lazar 2, or something to that effect. And
Holy
that's because
shit, that's pretty wild. Name every workout at the games after him. Lazar 1, Lazar 2. Yeah, that'd be
maybe
wild.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm just,
no, I
I'm
know.
just talking.
I like it. I'm good.
But I just, but then you look at the media around this thing and just the people. And I'm almost 50 now. I've worked in law enforcement in the military for 25 years, and I've seen generational shifts that I don't want to be like an old man yelling at clouds, but the way that the community has responded to this is not in a line with where I was in the beginning when I came to this. And I don't know that they care about the sort of the military side of it, or what you would consider the base and I consider the base.
Well, the
And
reason
sort of
why it's the base is because in that job, the weak die first.
100%.
And so that's why it's the base of that job. It's not tied to it for some ideological reason, like you're into death or that you're into killing or you like guns. Those are just correlates. The reason is because holy shit, if you want to be the best physically fit you can be for a job that has a lot of fucking demands physically, you better do CrossFit. Just so people know. Some people think like culturally it's aligned with that first. Like, a lot of these brands start and they don't even have a fucking product. That's not the way CrossFit happened. It wasn't designed for military guys. It's an amazing product that the military adopted because of its fucking absolute potency in it. And like all these, I hate to say it, but a lot of these other big fucking brands out there, they're not like that. They're fucking.
I remember
okay,
video
you got
of
me
a
all
cop,
fired up.
very early CrossFit video. I don't even think you probably did it. It was somebody else.
How
but it was
dare
an older
you?
cop.
How dare you?
It was an older cop who said, I had been in a fight for my life. And then later on, I did the workout Fran. And I realized in that 2 to 3 minute fight that I had with this guy where I couldn't use my arms, he was bigger, he was doped up, whatever was going on. And then I did the workout Fran. I realized, oh, this is the same feeling as being completely empty. So he found from his professional experience a workout that simulated a life or death fight. And he said, I need to use this and bring this to training. And I think it was one of the first guys, like he might've been one of like the Jacksonville guys that hooked up with Greg in the beginning. I wasn't there that early. I was just watching from the internet, but that's the people.
Was it TJ Murphy? Was it a black cop?
No, I know who you're talking about. He was a white
okay.
guy and he had a southern accent, but I remember TJ Murphy and like the Jacksonville dudes. And he was like an older patrol guy, like dude just comes up on a stop. Next thing you know, he's on the ground fighting for his life. And that's kind of the story, he tells. And it's like, and then coming to CrossFit later and kind of connecting those experiences, that's where he became like a true believer. So yeah, there's a serious disconnect from that mindset to where there is now. And I don't know how we reconnect it, because there's so many people that are out, and that's where Dave comes from. There's so many people that are just in a different headspace that I wouldn't even know how to communicate.
Hey, I've already seen content where people are attacking the game, saying it's too closely tied to that. I don't know if I want to go.
No,
down this path.
I saw this,
and I'm just like, stuff. Wow, man, people are really grasping at straws now. But yeah, every people, yeah. I saw one guy. I sent this post to a chat. Have you seen the guy who said that Dave's part of like an Illuminati and that his hat is a skull and bones club, and that
No,
he's trying to bring down the consciousness of the earth. And oh god, I mean the shit that's coming out around this is wild.
yeah, I mean, it just shows like a gross first, like it shows a misunderstanding of the legal system when they're talking about like what should happen and what could happen. That's
Right.
fine. Like people, they're not
Right.
as educated about it. They're going with their opinions. Like,
Or they want a real response, and we don't live in a world where people can give real responses because of the legal system.
yeah, there's no wins. Everything is kind of like levels of losing, and we're just going to deal. Again, I've lived in it for 2 decades.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. These guys are going to have a legal fight that's probably going to be in the civil world, but it's just the core of this thing feels to me like it's slipping away, and I can't understand. Like, I have my community and I have the people that I'm going to go through this with, and I think we're strong. Our 150 people. But again, when you see the cuckoo banana pants stuff that's getting posted on the internet, I don't know how you kind of like wrangle that in and recreate that understanding, because many of these folks come to this from, I just want to be really good at working out, which is cool. It's cool as shit. But coming to the understanding of like this, not only does the training need to be austere because the job is austere, and the mindset behind that is, I mean, I hate to say this too, like I was in the 82nd Airborne, and we had a sign as you entered the 82nd Airborne that said, it's been 7 days since our last training death, or 21 days. And if you made it to 82 days, you got a 4-day weekend. I was there for about 3 years. I was there for 3 years, and we never got a 4-day weekend.
Holy shit. And those are just from training deaths.
I mean, people getting run over, like sleeping on the ground, and a Jeep runs over them.
Wow.
People falling out of an airplane, chute doesn't open. They fall off a truck. Things that happen in training, that to train an army to win a war, not to say that, like, it's not that you can't break an omelet without making some eggs. And I'm not like, but it's just a reality of it. And then what do? Something bad happens. And then next thing you know, every time you set up a base at night at Fort Bragg, you put up chem lights, because anybody driving a car or a Humvee at night is going to see chem lights. They're going to be like, okay, there's people there. They should see it. And then what happens? Sometimes they miss it. So then you got to take another step, and it becomes this evolution of contingencies and protections that you put into place so those accidents don't happen again. But if I went to Fort Bragg today, I bet you that sign is still up there, and I bet you it says like 21, because, or whatever the number is, because it sucks that this had to happen. And I'm not saying anything.
You know what else is crazy? Think this is, and I know people are going to say, well, this isn't war, this isn't being a police officer, but just think of all the occupations out there. I was thinking yesterday, if you were a police officer and someone and one of your guys gets killed, or even worse, one of your guys gets killed, or your job is to help other people, like that poor lady who she was 26 years on the police force, and she pulled her taser out and her gun out instead of her taser and shot that guy, which I don't even think was wrong, because he wasn't showing his hands, but whatever, that's a whole nother story. But how does the rest of the police force, they don't even get to take one shift off. They don't get to take a day off. They don't have any options. It's just move forward right now.
You have got, and
there's not even a choice. Let's take a vote. Who wants to shut down the police station? No.
You're back out. You're out that day, doing what it is that you got to do. And it's like, at best, like people are unwinding what happened while you're out there patrolling, the streets of Jacksonville or the hills of Afghanistan.
But Sevi, they chose that job. Oh, right. So that doesn't make them human. I forgot. Thank you for pointing that out to me.
Right. Yeah, it's really hard, and I don't know if it's fair to heap those expectations on the athletes.
No, but listen, it might not be fair to heap those expectations on athletes. But when you're born, that's their fucking reality, dude.
Yeah.
Death around every fucking corner. I'm just saying that's the reality. If you want to live in reality, I like to try to live in it. And even though I might not live in it, when I have opportunities that point signs at it, I like to take heed to them. Okay, shit.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is, and I go back to, I've read everything Greg ever wrote multiple times. He said men will die for points.
Yeah.
They said in the New York Times that, hey, these workouts, they can kill you. And I'm not, this has all been out there. Like, we know that this is dangerous, and even, but people want to talk about safety. It's very important to do it, but there's the process of humanity is not to stop. It's to evolve and, after action review what happened, go back, maybe we never see a swim event at the games again. I think that might happen. I don't know.
I hope not.
But there's people who want to kill it. And I don't think that's,
no, stupid.
That ain't good.
Yeah. Pat, as you said, I think that's stupid. All right. Thank you, caller.
All right.
Bye. Sevi is being himself here, saying he's right and everyone else stupid. God, man. Thank you. I guess thank you for the perspective. All right. Someone just sent me a nasty text. They said, stop answering your phone. I really would like to ask my wife a question. Big Jess, to help you pay this therapist fee. Thank you. Oh, shit. I'm so far behind in the comments. I'm so sorry, guys. Listen, the only reason why I just answer the pay ones isn't because you need to pay to get your questions answered, is because there's so many fucking comments that I have to have some, they stand out when someone pays. And so I have to have some method of choosing them. On shows that aren't this big, I can go through other ones too. In 2018, Tia lost her 17-year-old cousin. Oh, wow. This is going to be an interesting perspective. Both of Tia's speeches were amazing. I spoke to Tia for the first time in 5 years, by the way. Very brief. I told her that I ran into her. I congratulated her. I told her that I thought both her speeches were absolutely great representations of the community. And to be honest with you, I thought she would just ignore me, but she smiled and said, thank you. That was it. In 2018, Tia lost her 17-year-old cousin in a tragic accident days before the Commonwealth Games. She won gold. Tia held off grieving and said afterwards that she competed for jade. She's been through this. Wow, that's a powerful story. Caller, hi. Hey.
Hey, dude. What's up?
Hey, what's up? I can't do another 15-minute call. I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with you. I just can't do it.
I know you'd love to stay on the phone with me for 20 minutes. So I did my level 2 this
Jethro,
weekend.
what's up, dude? Hey, you did what? You did your level 2 this weekend?
I did my level 2 this weekend. I started watching the games. I couldn't even stand to watch it anymore because of what happened. It was like just so crazy. And between the affiliate, having people cover, it shows you like how much the affiliate and the community, in that sense, the everyday people are so much more important than the games. Yeah, we have games fans and we love everyone competing, but that's not what it's about. Because when I was at the certification, no one talked about it. Everyone was worried about impressing the coaches and showing their knowledge and getting everything done. And my members at my gym, if I have around about 100 members, I think maybe 8 people knew what happened at the games. Everyone else just goes about their daily lives. They want to get that 1 hour and that's it. So at what point does HQ say, we're investing all this money, we're losing money into the games? How do we turn around and put it back into what's really most important is the affiliates?
Word.
They're a happy medium.
Well said.
I don't know. Tell me.
I don't know, but that's the thing. Hopefully the leadership at CrossFit doesn't get distracted by all the noise and stays the course and continues to recognize that. It's hard to do when there's a lot of noise.
I hate to sound like a douche nozzle, but I mean, like you just like the last guy said with the law enforcement and the military. You know, I've gone to many funerals.
Right.
I hate to sound like a dick, but you got to keep going.
Jethro, today, Someone will walk into an affiliate somewhere on planet Earth and start doing CrossFit. And if they wouldn't have started CrossFit, they would have fucking committed suicide. They would have died. They would have gone down some sort of path that leads to their death. I'm willing to bet my fucking house on it. And so, yeah, what happens at the affiliates is a miracle. Lives being saved every day. I love you, buddy.
Bye.
Bye. Pat Lang, Sevi. God, you're lucky. I love you. Sevi, you said Thursday. You are very lucky, man. Very lucky. Could you change your name to 36 double D? Sevi, you said Thursday you would tell us Monday how you felt about what happened. We're still waiting, bro. Whose fault? Where was the fail? That was clickbait, I guess. I ain't doing that today. I'm flip-flopping. Okay. I should read some shit from David Weed. I wonder how he's processing this. Hindsight is always 20/20. It's easy to point fingers after the fact and play the victim. Tragic situation, but I don't know if it was truly avoidable. Just my opinion. Matt, $10. I think we talked about that a little bit, right? The water adds a piece of fucking wildness to it, as opposed to if he'd have just fucking went down on the ground and died, or if he would have gotten saved. Either way. Laura Spooner, getting to hang out with Susan, lots of the athletes Sunday night was a highlight of our weekend. Thanks for showing up for the community. All right. Chupa mi verga. The podcast is unwatchable right now. Okay. Pat Lang, avoiding accountability here because Sevi likes Dave is ridiculous. Dave probably not even liable. Let's discuss it at least. All right. Drake Webster, we watched an athlete die doing CrossFit because CrossFit didn't protect Lazar. It's not the same as dying for your country or fighting fires to protect. That is where people are pissed. Personal channel. Issue is Lazar died unexpectedly at CrossFit Games, like the Super Bowl. He died unnecessarily. You were on a roll. You were on a roll. He died unnecessarily because of CrossFit's failure. CrossFit is nothing without athletes. CrossFit didn't look out for athletes here. Athletes should walk out. I don't really understand, but I'm going to make up some shit. So CrossFit is not, I'm not going to address the top part yet. CrossFit is nothing without athletes. I don't know what you mean by that. If you mean games athletes, that couldn't be further from the truth. We just had a guy call in, and we know that people are having their lives changed every day. But it is interesting because the premise is, if I'm following you right, is that you're drawing a distinction, pretty heavy distinction between the sport and the community. Let me also tell you this. There wouldn't be athletes if there weren't the fans in the audience. Because none of those athletes, all those athletes, anyone could do the games at home. No one's being forced. No one's being forced to do the games. No, like you do do workouts in public. Like none of these people, all of these people are chasing something, right? They're doing it. They're doing the workouts publicly. You don't have to do that. You don't have to. You can qualify to the games and then just go home and do them there if you want. So I mean, this is the stuff. Like this is where like I'm reading these because this is the stuff where all of these things have so many presuppositions and they're painting pictures just from one fucking perspective. And I just don't want to do that yet. I just don't want to do that yet. Like start digging in and unpackaging all of these half truths. And that's what a lot of you guys are saying. These are half truths. Caller, hi. Or
Tony, this is,
half
Chaz.
half lies. This is who?
Chaz.
Hey, what's
out
up,
of
dude?
Chaz and Mandy, Shandy.
Oh yeah, my guardian angel. What's up, baby? Hey, dude, look what I got. Size 13.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, text me your address. I thought those were gonna sit in my fucking office forever, dude. And then when I saw how big you were, I was like, "Hey, dude, what size shoe do you wear?" So glad.
Oh, yeah, Mandy said she sent it over to you already.
Okay, cool. How you doing? Hey, great hanging out with you.
Yeah.
Great hanging out with you Sunday. Great. I fucking had I had so much fun.
It was great. I texted you a second ago. I said I wasn't going to call in, but the unfortunate part with what happened is you have people who they grieve by not wanting to perform, not wanting to do the CrossFit Games, not wanting to be a part of the community, putting blame on people. But there's the other side of it as well, where people like myself, my wife, and everybody else that stayed, who their grieving process involves being around the community and being there to support and rally around the athletes that did want to stay there, and try to.
Or how about the ones how about the ones who didn't want to stay there but still performed? I think there were a lot of those too.
Yeah.
And it's important for us. Yeah. Okay. Go on.
I mean, anybody. I mean,
Right.
if you were there, right, and you shouldn't be crapped on for wanting to do the job as a professional that you do. That's what you do, right? If you didn't want to be there, then please leave. That's great. I support you in that matter, right? But then don't come out and push blame on somebody. I mean, we don't truly know what happened yet, right? Whether it could be avoided or not, right? I do think there's going to need to be, in my opinion, the people that fall on their swords. Either way, right? The people that are blaming CrossFit or CrossFit. If there is something that could have been avoided, right? There will need to be at some point some sword falling. Do I think the people who are blaming CrossFit will actually fall on their sword? Probably not, because that's not what the left does. But I do think that it is something that, we have to figure out, let everything come out and let everybody kind of grieve in their own way. Let this time roll through and kind of let the emotions process. I think everybody just needs to kind of get through this and then, then come together and try to figure it out. Because right now everybody's divided like the rest of the country and the rest of the world.
Word. Well said.
But yeah, I thank you again. It was great spending time with you guys. I look forward to anything else in the future. Chat. Love you guys.
All right, buddy. I'll probably call you later today.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, ciao.
Bye.
Damn, do I have a story for you guys about Sunday night? Holy shit. Different show. You guys are going to love it. Fucking nuts. Absolutely nuts. I did something so negligent. Not CrossFit related at all. I just did something so negligent. If you were mayor of a town and didn't give the police officers Kevlar and one gets killed, the mayor's going down one way or another. Not true at all. In many towns, Pat, they would be promoted nowadays to governor or president. You know that's not true, by the way. I don't even know what the context of that is, but you know that's not true. Look at Ferguson. Look at Ferguson. Look at the police chief of Ferguson refused to carry a gun, and he was in a bank when there was a bank robbery, and he ran away. And he wasn't the police chief at the time. He was an officer, and then eventually he was promoted to police chief. Makes me feel better about you thinking that I was calling people stupid too. Oh, and let me read this. Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna start attacking you, Pat. I better not. GFY, go fuck your. Oh, good. I don't have to attack you. Go fuck yourself, Pat. Sevon, thank you for being yourself. All right, you're welcome. I'm trying. Are you doing a Lazar workout for Kill Taylor? So many great jokes. Now is not the time. Trish, love you. All right, thank you. There's so many awesome. I gotta pee. I'm probably gonna stay on. I'm gonna just go out in the yard and pee. AE223 was at the games. I was the person in the bad mental headspace. This weekend was life changing for me. Signing up for my first CrossFit class. No shit. Hey, dude. You should DM me. I would like to follow your journey. I'd like to know you. I'm curious how that plays out. And kudos for you for fucking taking action. All right. I'll be back in just a minute. Pee break. Maybe refresh on the coffee. Let me see what's going on inside the house. Pedro has started turning in his videos for the video contest. Wouldn't that be great if I could give the $5,000 to one of my friends? And he's made his really short, 30-second. I love a 30-second commercial. Excuse me. I don't know if Paper Street Coffee's 30% off anymore. All right. I'll see you guys in a minute.
My name is Steven Rivero. I'm 26 years old. I'm from Ecuador and I go to Salty Hive CrossFit. My first day, it was so nice. Like all the people, they were like, oh, let's go, because it was wall walks. Love wall walks. I did decent and everyone was like, oh yeah, you crush that. And I just felt good, not because they were saying that to me, just because the intention of them, which was make me feel comfortable here. And I love that. I love I felt the warmth of the place, and that was really good. I was going home and I remember like driving, I was like, I like that a lot. And then here I am. I think I have more than 2 years here. I'm like, I'm not quitting this place. I moved pretty far from here, but still I always try to make it. I'm like, I don't mind to drive a lot, because for me that's the place where I love to be. I get all my problems out and I just come here, have fun, suffer, of course, of all the bunch of workouts that we had, very hard. But that's the point. I mean, like, nobody like obligates you to do it. It's just how I like it here and how it makes me feel always, every single day. This is my peace, space, and happy, enjoy everything here.
I will say this around the virtue signaling thing. Maybe I should look up what that means. I truly do not comprehend virtue signaling. I think maybe I understand the idea behind it. It says the public expression of opinions or sentiments intended to demonstrate one's good character, social conscience, or moral correctness of one's position on a particular issue. Okay, so I get that, but and it's derogatory according to this virtue signaling. But you guys want to hear her say it? It's kind of funny.
Virtue signaling. Virtue signaling.
When I think of it too, the piece that's missing in that definition, I guess that's why it's derogatory, is because people do it because they think that's what they're supposed to do. So yesterday I made a post of my son throwing a basketball in the driveway and making it in the hoop. And the reason why my dad made the video, and then I thought it was a cool shot, and I thought, oh, this is cool, this is fun, people will like this. It's my way of telling people that I'm at home and that I live a really cool, happy life, and that I'm okay, that my shit's good. Thank you. And so that's why I posted it. I don't know if that's virtue signaling, but the reason, I guess every post is virtue signaling. I don't know. I just don't like the word, but I will tell you this. I did hear something this weekend from an athlete that fucking that I still don't. understand. So you know how how there's all these girls out there and they post these pictures and like their tits look perfect and like it might even not even be about their tits, but they're just talking or something and then they have the camera up here so you can kind of see the cleavage, or the highlighted shirts always have the cleavage. And I get that because those are the ones that the algorithm likes and they get the most attention, they get the most likes, and they're getting feedback from it. Fine, everyone likes tits. But and here's the weird part. I heard this. I don't ever make a post because I think that's what people want. And someone told me that they made a post about Lazar, and the reason why they made it was because that's what they thought other people wanted. So in my mind, I always think, oh, I should take, like when I was with Rich, I'm like, I should take a picture with Rich and post it because that's what people want. They want to see what's going on down here. And I should take a picture with every athlete and post, and that's what people want. But those posts, I never make those because I don't know why. Because I guess I don't, like the only I posted a picture of Pedro and Colton. I forgot to tag them too. That was stupid. But I liked it because it was just it made me feel warm, and I thought it was funny, and you guys would think it was funny to see Colton and Pedro together. I can't imagine. And it made me, when the person said that out loud to me, I was like, wow. You posted something because I don't know, that's wild. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble with it. Um, uh, sometimes you have to like I have to talk about the exerciser because they make money. That's how I make money. But I'd still talk about it in a way that's like fun for me. But to post something about someone's death because you feel like that's what people want from you, with the implication that it's not truly how you feel, or that maybe you're not saying anything, boy, that's, oh boy. That sounds wild. Huge anus. If the tragedy never happened, the program in order of and that goes back to something that Hiller told me. He told me that people, I think he said it. I need to get him on and do a whole show with him. You guys need to hear us talk it out. It's so therapeutic for me to talk to him. And just listen to how he processes it instead of having to deal with how I'm processing it. But that's why it's so nice dealing with the Bible beaters, because you can just hear how they're processing it, and it gives you reprieve from your own processing. And it's nice. You know what I mean? I lost my train of thought. Huge anus. Even if the tragedy never happened, the program and order of events were a bore for spectators. Can't help but think Bosman was in charge, not Dave. Oh, were you there? That's another thing. Like being there, it was everything was amazing. The volunteers were amazing. Well, I loved watching them roll the weights in and out. The judges were amazing. The actual like games, like on hands, like people that we had that corralled the media were awesome. Laura, at one point I was during the final the closing ceremonies I never stay for, but they just moved right into it this year really quickly, and I had a bad seat, and Jonathan Haynes grabbed me and like moved me to a vantage point, and by the end of the event they would take the media and give us shortcuts into the place. I loved all that. And then the final workout was, I thought the final workout was the best final race in the history of the CrossFit Games, watching Dallin and James Sprague make their move. I don't know, dude. I loved it. I was ecstatic. I thought it was fucking amazing. Caller, and my wife said watching the final event from home, she was going nuts. And she said Chase and Adrian absolutely murdered it. So I'm not sure what your perspective is. I mean, I appreciate it. Caller, hi.
Hey, this is John out of here. I just wanted to say, man, I really appreciated how you guys, how you covered the show, especially Thursday after Lazar's death, after that occurred, you guys talking about it, and really, I would say, Bill Grundler's.
Oh, Bill was
insight.
my DMs are full of people loving Bill Grundler. Holy shit. He murdered, huh? He killed it.
He did, man. It was
Yeah.
great insight, I thought, man. I shared that with a ton of people. But
You got the emotional
outside of-
response from Taylor,
Yeah.
the self-righteous response from me, and the fucking facts from Bill Grundler. It was epic.
Yeah, it was. Completely agree. And I also would like to say that Hiller's tribute that he posted.
Oh,
I
my
think
wife.
later that day.
Yeah. He's a beast, right? My
Man.
wife said she said it made him, it tore her heart out and put it back in like 3 times. She said it was crazy.
Absolutely.
I'm scared to like
Absolutely.
watch the whole thing. I watched little bits of it. I was like, damn.
Yeah, I actually watched most of the games this weekend. My wife and my grandson. We watched most of it this weekend, man. And
You have a
I thought it-
grandson?
Yeah, man. I have 2 grandchildren.
Damn, lucky you. Congrats, dude.
Yes, sir. Thank you. But yeah, we watched it with my oldest grandson, and my wife's watched it before, so it's not a first time for her. But really, I think they kind of dug into taking more interest in it. Fortunately, because of the Lazarus' unfortunate incident, and they want to know more about what was going on, more about the games and all that stuff. So they really watched it the whole weekend. So that was kind of cool, interesting family time also.
Well, cool. Thank you. Great insight. You're probably not alone in that. I love hearing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, man, for everything you guys do.
All right. Thanks for calling in, dude.
All right.
Bye. All right. That was cool. Very cool. Hi, guys. Hi. I have to do this show alone. I'm sorry. Yeah. You need help with your Lego? Okay. Is mom here? Okay. Is Meds Mighty here? Oh. What? Yeah, one more question. Go ahead. Oh, you can't that Vindicate made you the CrossFit shirt with your name on the back? Or no, did Cameron make you those? I can't remember if Cameron made you those. Okay, I'll be inside in a little bit. If you guys need anything, come in here and get me. Okay, I love you guys. What? No. Oh, do I want one? I'll take a Fit Aid. Thank you. That's really sweet of you. Thank you. Oh, Avi came in here and said, "Do you want a Fit Aid?" Even if the tragedy never happened. Oh, okay, I read that one. Let me get through some of these guys. Devos, it's so sad and suddenness of it all as well. No such thing as half lies. You are correct. Audrey, we had the best time. Oh, I had so much fun with you guys. Thank you so much, Audrey and Mandy and Chaz, for taking such good care of me Sunday night. Man, the wheels fell off the fucking bus. I've just lost my father from something, in my opinion, could have been prevented. What I know is that anything can happen to anyone at any time. We can't stop it. TM $1.99. Thank you. I love you guys. Hey, I'm gonna take you guys to the skate park very soon. So just be okay. Okay, I'll hang out with you. Maybe we'll do RC cars while they skate. Will you put underwear on and pants? Have Joseph get dressed too, please. Oh, okay. He's not here. Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, boys. Pat Vellner said it's not war, it's sport. That's right. You have the option of not showing up, unlike a soldier, and yet you kept showing up. You must not have thought the risk was all that great. There's a clip out there that's pretty wild of me interviewing Tony Budding in 2008. I cannot find it. But Tony says something very poignant. It's interesting going back and looking at all the interviews. I think you guys will really enjoy the last interview I did with Lazar too. I guess maybe the reason, I don't know why I didn't post it. Make up a bunch of shit. Jonathan Ortega, it was so nice to drink tasty shit coffee with you. Yeah, isn't it funny? I don't know. I hate to say this. I hope Gabe's not listening. But the shit coffee, it was like Dunkin' Donuts. I really enjoyed the shit coffee. It wasn't Gabe's coffee, but like obviously they had done some chemical treatment to it to take the taste of the coffee out. So it was just like it was pretty crazy. I never poured a full cup of that. I only did little shots. So there's that. Holy shit, I made it through all the comments. Okay. Wow. Matt Burns, can we watch the last interview with Laz live? Yeah, I guess we could do that. I was thinking about maybe going through and pulling all the clips I had out with him and playing them. Vindicate, I didn't touch the shit coffee. Sebi, did you PR your Jocko intake like me? I did last year. I PR'd. Last year I had like 20. This year I think I only had 2. I appreciated that stuff being free and just everywhere. I drank it just like how I drank it like how like someone I assume snorts cocaine. You know what I mean? Like you're not like, this is this brand of. I just chugged it. You know what I mean? And got the caffeine and moved on. Yes, Greg Glassman's non-compete is now fulfilled. Yeah. Yeah. Greg's giving some input on Wednesday's show, I'm sure. I'm not gonna lie to you. I am anxious and nervous about that. Pat Lang, Sevi, any chance, Sevs. Hi, Patty. Hi, Pat. Hi, Patty. Any chance tomorrow we can delve into the actual incident, or we will do feelings all day? Is that what this is? This is feelings? Is this feelings?
Is this feelings? I do want to say this, Sevon.
Hi, Travis.
It was a pleasure meeting you in person. It was the highlight of my CrossFit media career. You were an absolute gentleman, kind, warm, attentive.
Stop, Pat. Travis. Stop, please. Please. Now's not the time to tell me how much you love me.
No, please, allow me to go on. You are a man amongst boys.
Oh, stop. That's enough. That's enough. Okay. That's enough. Cassandra Adler posted him talking to Lazar right before the start of the run. Might be why he withdrew after it happened. Oh, fair enough. Sevi, how hard did you hug the boys? I know I hugged my 7-year-old one. I picked him up from the camp Thursday. So I have these, as I come into the 3 Plain Brothers palatial estates, I have 3 big, huge electronic gates on different sides of the property. And as these opened up, as my driver dropped me off, the gate, I punched in the code and the gates opened up and my boys were there in their underwear, sun beaming down on them, middle of the day, fruit trees everywhere, grass, dog. And I just dropped to one knee, felt my skin against their skin. I took my shirt off so I could hug them and bring them close. They ran up one at a time. My wife stood in the background with her fucking amazing thick red hair, crazy fucking body, powerful dog, Borble standing there. Yeah, it was good. It was good shit. It was fucking pretty good. Heard the gates close behind me. Home. I was home. Oh, I'll play you this. I should play you this Craig Ritchie video. I only saw Craig Ritchie on the first day. I never saw him again. I don't know what happened. When I was standing next to me, he did talk to me and tell me his stance. And his stance wasn't like, he wasn't in the blame stance at all. I'm just paraphrasing. Oh, I can hear my boys playing the piano. That's awesome. It wasn't the blame stance at all. He was just really expressing to me his personal concern for saying anything that would hurt anyone's feelings or discredit anyone's views. And he was very, very soft-spoken. Okay, Craig Ritchie and his beautiful wife, Jazz, on the subject. Here we go.
All right, this isn't a video that Jazz and I ever thought we'd be making or wanted to make. This CrossFit Games or any time ever. As you've probably seen on.
So he just started crying and made a cut, so he couldn't make it. So he's starting again, and I get that. Like, he does not want to do this.
Social media. Yesterday during event 1, we lost someone.
Take 3. So here's his 3rd attempt. Now he's like, fuck, what am I like? I know the feeling. What am I doing? What am I going to say here? Why am I doing this?
Incredibly special to us, the community, in Lazar Dukic. Fierce competitor and always a smile. This CrossFit community is incredible. Over the years, the bond and the love that you guys out there radiate is incredible. And when you spend so much time on the road at these competitions, you get to know the athletes and they become friends. So yesterday we lost a friend.
So just to put this in perspective, this dude is really close with a shitload of fucking CrossFit athletes and a shitload of people in the community. Like, he's immersed. And so, and for a lot of people, he's a beacon of light, right? As much as we fuck with him. And so all of his friends are hurt. So not only did he lose Lazar, who I'm sure he knew, who I'm sure he's filmed with and had some intimate moments with, now all of his friends are hurt. So, like, he doesn't have, like, where's he going to go? Like, everywhere this guy turns, there's hurt, right? I mean, he's really immersed. Like you heard me, in 2 seconds, I'm going to go run off with my kids and do RC cars and skateboarding. I don't know if this guy has that. So everyone around him is fucking, like, is hurt. And so, and I think he prides himself on being a beacon of light and positivity and love. And so he's, like, probably processing his own shit, but he also wants to fulfill his role.
There really aren't any words that we can say to change the situation to anything. I don't know how the rest of the weekend is going to look for Jazz and I, but that really doesn't matter. What does matter is there is a link down below to support his brother, his partner, his family in this time.
It just could not have happened to a nicer family.
The guy was a light in the European CrossFit community and the worldwide CrossFit community, and he'll be remembered for that.
Craig doing Craig things. And when I saw that, I was like, well, that, I don't know. Part of me was like, not part of me. I was like, well, I see the value in his role. Like, I think that's, And Jonathan Ortega and Lazar was actually his friend. Yeah. I don't know their relationship, but I wouldn't be surprised if they text all the time and he filmed with them all the time and all that shit. By the way, these guys, Fit Aid gave Lazar the GoFundMe. When we started the GoFundMe, it had $16,000 in it, and 15,000 of it was from Fit Aid. They didn't wait a fucking second. All right. I think Souza has a show today. I don't know if he's doing it. I appreciate you guys coming on here and me pretending like I was doing a show for you, but you guys did a show for me. That was cool. I'll talk to you guys soon. Love you guys. Susie will be on a little bit, and I really want to do a show with James Sprague, Down Pepper. I'd love to do a show.
Hey, what's up, Stefan? It's Vinny,
I'd love to
the
do
elevator guy.
I'd love to do a show with Tia if she'd do it. Let's see how this plays out. If any athletes do want to come on, I'd love to talk to you. Okay, caller, hi. Hi, Vinny.
Hey, man, just how's it going, bud? Just listening to the show, watched all weekend. You know, been part of CrossFit since 2013. You know, nothing. I don't think you can do anything right or wrong at this situation at this point, right? Everybody's gonna have an opinion. Just my thought. I looked at it like, you know, Greg created CrossFit to change the lives and health of the people, right? To show them how to be healthy, what to eat, family, live long so you can move with your kids. And then we got the games out of it, which is a blessing because it drew more people into the sport, into CrossFit to be healthy, right? And then it's also, I think, a privilege that some of these athletes can make a small fortune doing it to work out for a living and have no part of the community, right? They don't own CrossFit gyms. They don't coach, teach. They're doing it to make money. And then there's some athletes that change the world, right? For being a part of the community, right? They have other purposes. But then you look at the event and you just look at Rogue, right? And she always talks about the athlete safety in all her events. And then CrossFit, I love Dave.
Who's she? You mean Katie Henniger?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Whenever you interview her, she's always talking about the athletes and what they need. And then, like I said, I'm not pointing fingers, but the CrossFit Games was a show on. Honestly, every year it felt like how bad can you beat the athletes up compared to like how bad can you push the limits, right? And you do hear people voice their concerns, and they kind of really never get listened to. But we all sign up to watch the show, right? To watch everybody, see how far these athletes can get pushed. But you never, ever hear CrossFit talk about the athlete safety in any of these events until after. But then you hear like Brent Fikowski, they start that organization, which is really, I felt, just for show because nothing ever gets done for the athletes. But, watching it live, watching what happened, all these athletes swam over his body. Little did they know he was underneath there, but people did. 3 hours go by, so forth. A lot of pointing fingers. He's not trying to do that, but to continue the games, I think it's different. Is like you said, if he collapsed out there, right? But this has a lot to do with not a lot of lifeguards in the water, the temperature of the water, the having somebody run, do a workout, and then swim across a lake. Like. A lot of it has to do due to negligence. Regardless of which way you look at it, may not be done on purpose at all.
Just so you know, every single one of your points, I couldn't disagree with you more. Dave and Don met with PFAA just a couple months ago. The CrossFit Games has not been littered with shitloads of mishaps. Safety has
no, not at all.
But I thought that's what you're saying. I thought that's what you're saying.
Well, it is a little bit, right? It is a little bit of mishaps, right? I think you're looking in more. They're looking to put a show more than what the human body can do.
And it's a test for the fittest, so it needs to be hard. Listen, there's
100%.
baseball. There's guys standing out there while a guy throws a ball 100 miles an hour within 12 inches of their body, right? And people have been hit with the baseball in the head and have had their careers ended.
So my thing is, how many people make money doing the sport out of the athletes? The top 1%, 2, 3, 4, 5%.
Yeah,
The rest of them are just begging
Yeah.
to make a living, right?
Right.
So they're going to do anything they're told to make it because they're trying to make money out of doing this, right?
Just like most sports.
100%.
Okay.
But now a tragedy happened. It
Mhm.
did. Tragedy. I mean, tragedy live. I don't think you get worse than that in any sport.
Right.
Name a sport that something that bad happened that could have, I would say, prevented, right? 2 lifeguards, volunteers. I understand everybody's trying to not point, but you have to at some point. And now for everybody to continue, what you're not in that situation, if there was no money involved, nobody's going to win money. None of these podcasters or sponsors are going to make money through the event, through the weekend, spent all this money. And I get that, right?
Yeah.
But now if there was no money involved, how fast should it have been canceled? It would have been.
Well,
It would have
hey,
been canceled
if there was no
wasn't
if there was
involved.
no money involved and there were no TVs cameras out there, Lazar would have swam out there and he still would have died.
You can say that too, right?
Right.
But the matter of the fact is,
If you
he
start
did
part
die.
and parceling this thing, you have to part and parcel it everywhere. These athletes could just work out in their garage and not do it.
Well, I agree.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
like you said, right? Somebody has to approve the safety plan, right? Texas, whoever approved
Right.
the venue. And they're not just pointing one finger, 100%. But the fact that it did happen and you can learn from it, but the fact that it went on. My thing is, nobody had time to grieve. This is somebody's kid, loved one, his fiance was there, family was there, brother was there. And if this is a community, say that was your son, right?
Yeah.
He's in a tennis
Right,
tournament. He
right.
goes against a kid that's 300 pounds, line drives a tennis ball at his head, knocks him out unconscious, he's in a coma.
Yeah.
Now, would you let that guy the next day play against another kid while your son's in the hospital? No, you're going to think different. You just are. Like, hey, how did we allow this to happen? You're going to think different. It's really easy to say when people got money and stuff on. I'm just saying this is a community, or is it? Or is it?
And I think
that's why Greg Glassman never wanted nothing to do with the games athletes, is because it is a selfish sport.
Right.
And I think a lot of 90% of athletes are selfish because they're doing it for money. And this, I do think it tarnishes CrossFit.
Hey, I don't think
a lot.
Daisy McDonald was out there for money. I'll have her on and ask her. I don't think not even 1%, not even a tiny bit.
You know, Jeff Adler, I looked at him, Guy, these people live with this guy. And dude, I look at it like if I lost a brother that I worked at, like these guys, you're closer with some of these athletes because they train all day together.
Right.
They're with each other more than their own family.
Right.
And I get it to move on. And I see that. But the way he died in front of people, drowned, everybody, it's just, if you look at the situation, it is just different.
Okay.
And nobody came together. I truly don't believe that. And then looking, people post pictures. Few people would mention Lazar throughout the weekend. People are cheering, taking pictures with their sponsors. Like nothing, like the guy didn't just die Thursday morning.
I don't know.
It's just wild to me.
I didn't get that impression being there.
People laughing, cheering on
for me,
podcasts, talking about this.
For me, the whole thing.
But you did your job.
No,
you filmed,
it's not just. No, I don't agree with you. I think the whole thing felt like a wake to me. I disagree with you. But thank
Really?
you. But I appreciate your perspective.
Well, you know what? You were there, and I wasn't. And just my take from listening to podcasts, it just from my personal view, I listen to every pod, I enjoy it, and it was hard for me to listen to any podcast that were going on because I feel like nobody even mentioned Lazar anymore.
Okay.
And it was just move on. And that's how I took it. Like, wow, these guys, it's just like, hey, let's drop the subject. Like somebody didn't just die Thursday morning in an event. And that's what it felt like. And then you look at some of these people's posts, or then people attacking each other for who decided to work out and then drop out the next day. Oh, it's because she's in last place. Like I said, your mind, it's definitely a mental fuck. What's right? It's like when people posted the black square. Should I post it? Should I didn't? I'm not racist. And this is just a worse situation of that. And I think people can change their minds and shouldn't have been attacked. And then people are already talking about lawsuits and this. And I mean, like the guy died Thursday. Like his family's still grieving. And it's supposed to be a community. and I feel like they just got pushed out of the community because their son died tragically.
Okay.
And it's like, oh well, we got to go fund me. It's just sad to me. I don't know.
I appreciate it, Vince. Thank you.
All right, man. Have
Thanks,
a good
brother.
one, man.
Okay.
All right, brother. Bye.
Is Sevon compromised by CF? Hashtag compromised. I say this with no humility. There's no one in the space anywhere who has a greater perspective or more knowledge in CrossFit on planet Earth than myself. And if you want to call that uncompromised, I understand. Love you guys. See you soon. Sue's at 11 a.m. Bye-bye.